time. And it might be simple for some people. It could literally be deadly for others. So this peanut allergy patch apparently was rejected by the Food and Drug Administration about 6 years ago. But it looks like they're back. And this time they could be good enough to make it through all the way. Again, they've now succeeded in a phase 3 trial. So they're making it a good attempt at this point in time to get it all the way. We shall see if it ends up as something that will be frequented by a lot of people in our area and beyond. We're also going to talk about the inflation report. The latest numbers are out. And this is described for the Consumer Price Index as a one-of-a-kind, 2-for-1 report. Rare opportunity that we get to see that. In fact, Perry, if we could pull up the big board, let's just talk a little bit about what we're seeing. You can see, look at that green that's on the screen. This has a lot to do with that, okay? So you could see the Dow Jones is up over 150 points at this point in time. The S&P 500 was on pace to snap a 4-day slide today. And they say this is boosted by lighter than expected inflation data that is brightening the outlook now for lower interest rates in 2026. Again, good to see some green on the screen. The last couple of days, I mean, we took a short dip into the red today, but the last few days we have seen plenty of red on there. We had some delayed numbers from November, and of course the government shutdown in October. So there's a lot that's going on there, but it's nice to see some green on the screen there. We're going to talk with an economic expert with Bankrate who is going to lay things out for us as we end the year and get ready for a new year, hopefully on an optimistic note. Have you ever maybe looked for something at an auction? And I'm not talking about just any auction that's happening for Wilmette. This is a municipal auction. So you can get things like a police vehicle for $1,000. I know there's a lot to it. We're going to talk with the folks from Municibid about how this works, what's up for auction, when you can place a bid. I have a lot of questions for them as to what they have that you might be able to get your hands on. But first, we're going to start with women's hockey. It is a rising sport. We get to see it more and more. Our young ladies get to participate in it. It's wonderful to see as it continues to grow like so many other women's sports. So Professional Women's Hockey League games are now coming to the Allstate Arena, and we're going to have it on our sister station, WPWR, coming up soon. And so I want to bring in Taylor House. She plays with the Ottawa Charge, and she is from Joliet. Nice to talk with you.
Thanks for having me.
I'd love to just kind of get your background as to how you got into hockey.
Yeah, so I grew up in Joliet. My mom started coaching, and she played when she was in high school. So she was kind of a coach and taught learn to skate and a bunch of pre-hockey programs. So I would always go to the rink with her. And so as soon as I was old enough to put my feet in skates and go out there with her, I took the chance, and I've loved it ever since.
How do you, I mean, when you start to skate, were you thinking like, oh, I'll do ice skating? Or did you know from the outset, I want to do hockey?
No, it was hockey from the get-go because she was fully committed to hockey, and I loved that type of skating so much just from starting doing it. So no, right from the start, it was hockey, and grew up playing with boys, and there wasn't this women's league growing up, and once that kind of came into the picture, it was really exciting.
Yeah. How did it feel? I mean, you mentioned excitement, and I did too. I love to see just the growth of women's sports, even though hockey would not have been my thing. I don't know if I could have gotten out there with you, but how does it feel to be on the forefront of something that is growing so much?
Yeah, it's so exciting. I mean, just seeing the response I've been getting, just coming home every summer with how excited all these local teams are, all the local girls that I got to coach and I get to coach every summer. They're like in love with this league, and knowing that they have a chance to grow up and not just play college hockey, but they can play professionally and have this be their full-time job. It's crazy to think about, but I think it's really exciting to see all these girls have a dream and be able to chase it now.
It really is. I mean, we're seeing it for football, with flag football now. I still remember when the WNBA came about, and it was like, you could play basketball in middle school, high school, even college, and then it was done, or you had to go overseas. And so many opportunities for women and for girls to dream and grow into these sports. What do you think is the hardest thing to catch on for hockey?
I mean, some people like to compare it to the men's game, but I think it's so exciting in itself and entertaining, and it's such a fast game, and we're physical, and it's everything that you expect out of a men's hockey game. It's just sometimes people label it as it's a women's sport, and maybe that's not the same, but I think we bring everything they bring, and we bring our own type of entertainment to it too. So I think if you go to see a game, I think everyone that I've talked to that's had their first chance to go, I think they've immediately loved it. So I think just seeing it and seeing the product we put on the ice is huge.
And of course, your home team, your hometown has a chance to see your team now. We don't have a Chicago-based team just yet for the league, but I believe this is like the beginning stages of that. Like, we're getting there. We'll talk about that in a moment. But how does it feel to be able to play back home?
It's so exciting. I mean, I've gotten slightly close before. I mean, last year, like, Minnesota has a team, and so that's not too far. We got to go to St. Louis, but playing in Rosemont, playing right there downtown, and I think it's having the accessibility of all these people that I grew up with and that taught me how to skate, and getting to see where I am now, and getting to play in front of the friends and family and everything. I think it's really special.
Yeah. Is everyone like bothering you about getting tickets?
Yeah, I had a handful that I had to get, and I've already heard from a lot of people that they'll be there, and like all my local club that I grew up playing with has a big group, and everyone's so excited. So it's kind of crazy.
It's like the good and bad thing. You're like, your phone's going to blow up, but at the same time, it's because people love you and they want to see you.
Yeah, with good reason.
How is it playing in Ottawa?
I mean, I love it there. It's good Midwestern weather. You know, they get the snow, they get the cold, so it's not too crazy of a change for me. But I mean, the fans are so accepting there, and you know, Canada's been a great hockey hub. So I think bringing that type of energy to Chicago, I think will be good. Yeah,
and you're not far. You know, even though it's not all state arena, but you're not far when you're in Canada.
Yeah, no, it's an easy place to get to. I think all of our teams are pretty accessible, and I've gone overseas, so this is by far a much easier travel for any friends or family to get to go to any games. Yeah, tell me a little bit about going overseas. Like, give me a little bit of your resume in hockey. Well, I went to college in Connecticut. I went to Quinnipiac University, and then I played a year in Boston in the old pro league. And then I ended up going over to Sweden for a year before I came to Ottawa last year. So I've been well traveled around for hockey, but feel really secure in the league we've established with this one. What's the hardest thing about being a woman in this league now? I think you're fighting for your job. It's like any pro sport. I think we've built that type of culture that this is pro sports, and you do have to work for it, and it's not an easy road to keep this job, and so you've got to be really committed and want this to be your full-time job. And so I think women or men or whoever this is, like, I think just growing the game as women and kind of getting our place and knowing that this is a real pro sport and to get people to watch. And when you are speaking to young girls, give me a bit of your speech to them. I always tell young girls to just keep having fun. Like, I don't even before this league happened, when I was in college, and they'd ask like what to do to get to college, everyone always gets so stressed about getting people to watch you or worrying about where you're going to be. Like, growing up, all the kids want to go to the NHL, and they get stressed out about how to do that. But I think just having fun, and just, if you love it, to keep doing it. And I was also a big pro playing other sports until you're older, just to keep having fun doing things with your friends, and eventually you can specialize. But like, if you have fun with it, that's the biggest thing, whether you're gonna go pro or not. But I think if you have fun, you'll get really far.
Yeah, I think that's key. It's key for the kids and for the parents to keep in mind.
Yes. Yes, let it be fun. Stay fun.
Don't be so focused on them becoming pros from the time they're 6 years old. Yeah.
Yeah. No. It takes time.
And some parents just laser focused. They're going to go pro one day. Did you ever play any other sports, or did you ever think that if hockey doesn't happen, I want to do this?
Yeah, I played softball up until like midway through high school before I finally decided to just fully focus on hockey, and grew up with an older brother. So I kind of participated in whatever sports he was playing with too. So I did the baseball before softball. He played lacrosse. So I'm pretty agile in that too. Never fully played competitively, but I mean, I was able to do anything that the brother did. He wanted to keep up with him. So actually sports, softball would probably be, I could have committed to that a little bit more, but hockey had my heart. So ended up choosing that one.
Yeah, following my brother as he was trying to do everything around got me in the hospital a lot. I have made several trips to the emergency room trying to do everything he did. Let me just ask you this. What more do you want to see from the league and from the growth of the game in time?
I think just the fan base is growing every year, and you can see that. Like all these takeover tour games are getting such good turnouts. And I think our fan base is growing all over. And even like all these NHL fans that think that they weren't going to like the hockey, love the hockey. And I think the teams that we've expanded to, we just went to Vancouver and Seattle, and the turnout there and the support that they get from such a new franchise is incredible. So I think just growing that fan base and kind of letting the world know what our game is and what type of value we bring to hockey, I think that'll keep growing as it goes on.
I'm pretty sure it will. So it's Ottawa versus Minnesota this weekend. Tell me a little bit about this matchup. What should we know about this matchup?
A little bit of a rivalry. We went to the championship against them last year, and unfortunately we lost. But I think every team in this league gets super competitive, which is good. So no matter who we end up playing in Chicago, it would have been like even those next two games that Chicago's going to get, it's going to be a good one. So I think. Yeah, it's a little rivalry. It's going to be a fast-paced game. They're a quick team. We're a fast team. I think physical, and I think it's going to be an exciting rematch.
Ooh, we have a couple of rematches then this weekend, right? Yeah. Bears Packers on Saturday, and then we can go watch hockey on Sunday. Yeah. So, tell us about what you specifically bring to the team, like your position and what you've honed to bring to the team.
Yeah, I play forward, so I kind of like to use my size. I'm like 5'10" off skates, so about 6 foot on skates. I try to use that to my advantage, and just play the fast-paced game, use the physicality that our league allows us to play with. I think that's my biggest thing, and some details, and just locking down the D zone, O zone, just trying to be the best teammate and lineman I could be.
Taylor, awesome chatting with you. Like I said, I'm so excited to see the growth of the league, and really, really happy for you in your career, and especially this moment where you get to come home and play in front of your home crowd. So the Professional Women's Hockey League game, everybody, is Sunday at Allstate Arena. We're going to have it on WPWR at 1 p.m. That is Fox Chicago Plus. But we want you to go see Taylor in person. If you can't, we'll have you covered on air. Taylor, thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
My best to you, and happy holidays.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. It's just about 1:15. We want to take you to the White House. There is an executive order signing that's going on, and we're going to take you in there live and listen in for a bit.
People to put up a lot of money. We had a lot of donors come in for record-setting numbers, so we saved the Kennedy Center, and I was really, this was brought up by one of the very distinguished board members, and they voted on it, and there's a lot of board members, and they voted unanimously, so I was very honored by it. Thank you.
Mr. President, will you be seeking any authorization from Congress for any land attacks on cartels in Venezuela?
For anyone?
For any land attacks on drug cartels in Venezuela?
I wouldn't mind telling them, but it's not a big deal. I don't have to tell them; it's been proven. But I wouldn't mind at all. I just hope they wouldn't leak it. You have people leak it. They are politicians, and they leak like a sieve. But I'd have no problem doing that.
On that, Mr. President.
Yes, please.
Mr. President, there's a meeting this weekend on Ukraine in Florida. What are you hoping will come out of that meeting?
Well, they're getting close to something, but I hope Ukraine moves quickly. I hope Ukraine moves quickly because Russia's there. And, every time they take too much time, then Russia changes their mind. 27,000 soldiers were killed last month. Think of that. What do you think of that, doctors? 27,000, it's like a half a football stadium, were killed in 1 month. And it's that way. It's anywhere between 20 and 30,000, mostly soldiers, also some people from Kiev and other places. But largely it's the soldiers. They're losing their lives. Nobody's ever said anything like this. It's the worst since World War II. And, you've heard me say I settled 8 wars, some going on for 35 years, one going on for 37, one going on for 32. And 8 wars, and I thought this would be an easier one. This is because of the animosity, the hatred. It's a little bit more difficult than we thought, but there's a chance we can get this done maybe soon.
Sir.
Remember that 25 to 30,000 people being killed a month, young people being killed a month. Steve, please.
When do you expect to make your announcement about the new Fed chair, sir? Before the end of the year? What do you think?
Over the next couple of weeks. I mean, I don't know before the end of the year, but pretty soon.
And then the Rocky Mount, North Carolina tomorrow night. Tell us what your message is going to be there, sir.
Say what?
When you go to Rocky Mount, North Carolina tomorrow night, what's your message going to be there?
Well, it's not going to be that much different from what I did last night. I mean, we've had tremendous success. We're bringing prices down. We inherited a mess. And part of what we inherited was the worst inflation in 48 years. I say history, but we had the worst inflation. It drove prices up. And now we're bringing those prices down. But I'll be talking about that. I'll be talking about the fact that we secured the border where literally nobody can come into our country illegally anymore. They came in from prisons and mental institutions and drug dealers and, a lot of bad people from all over the world. Venezuela emptied their prisons into our country. We had Tren de Aragua, which supposedly, the doctors don't know this, it's the meanest gang of them all. Okay, doctor? You don't have to know about it. You got other problems. But
All right, so we were listening in there. Reporters were taking some questions. If you see the white coats behind the president there, he was there to sign an executive order. He just signed it to speed up the rescheduling of marijuana from Schedule 1 to the less severe Schedule 3. With a stated goal of expanding cannabis research. So that's why the doctors are there behind him. The executive order will direct the Attorney General to expedite the completion of that rescheduling process. It was something that the Biden administration had begun, but then they left it unfinished. So President Trump now signing that executive order to speed up everything that started before he even came in, but finishing with his signature today. So a few of the questions that he's been asked by some of the reporters who were there, they were asking him about the Kennedy Center. He says he is continuing to try to make the Kennedy Center better. Of course, there's been a lot of controversy around his involvement with the Kennedy Center. They asked him about land attacks on cartels. He says he doesn't have to tell Congress if he's going to do a land attack, but he has no problem doing that. He says he just doesn't want them to leak because a lot of the times when there is a conversation, but when there are both sides at the table, we have seen that there have been leaks in the past. Also, they asked him about Ukraine and Russia. There's supposed to be a meeting again this upcoming weekend in Florida. So he says that Ukraine needs to move quickly because Russia, he says, is already there. And he talked about the 27,000, he said, soldiers who were killed just last month in that war. And he was asked about a speech that he is expected to make tomorrow night in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. And he says he'll be speaking about much of what he addressed last night in his prime time address at 8 p.m. last night, our time here in Chicago, the economy, the border, and things of that that nature. So again, as we widen out that shot, you can see the doctors behind him because this primarily was about the rescheduling for marijuana from a Schedule 1 drug to a Schedule 3 drug, and the expedited process that they're working on now for the Attorney General to work on now to make that happen. It's 1:20 at the moment, and when we come back from this quick break, we're just going to break for 2 minutes here. We're going to talk about a fairly unique auction that's happening in Wilmette. We're going to talk with the CEO of Municipid about what they're offering, how much you can get some of these items for, and where the money goes in the end. We'll be right back. Just 2 minutes. All right, welcome back, everyone. 1:22 right now. And if you're still looking for Christmas gifts, here's an opportunity to get some things that maybe no one thought of just yet. Or at least maybe from someone you didn't think that you would be able to get an item that they did ask for from. I want to bring in Greg Berry. He is the founder and CEO of Municipid to talk a little bit about the Village of Wilmette's auction block right now. Thank you so much for your time.
Hi, Anita. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Tell us about Municipid first and foremost.
Yeah, so Municipid has been around we're going into our 20th year. We serve state and local governments, school districts, and universities all across the country. And they utilize us to auction off things that they no longer need or have a desire for, and it's open to the public so anyone can bid.
And how long is the auction usually going on?
Typically, items are listed for about 14 days. In this case, with the Tahoe that's up for auction by Wilmette, this closes on Monday.
Yeah, let me tell everybody about that Tahoe. So the Village of Wilmette is auctioning off, among other things, and we'll talk about that too, a Chevrolet Police Tahoe in time for the holidays. And Greg, what's the high bid at this point?
Well, right now it's at $1,200, but I doubt that it's going to end there. Typically what happens is there's bidding kind of right away when the auction starts, and then, of course, at the very end in the final few minutes of the auction, it gets pretty heated. So we'll see where it ends up. No, there's no telling where it'll end up.
Well, whoever put in the 1,200 is probably upset with us that we're talking about it. They're like, no, wait, I don't want more people to know. But tell me a little bit about some of the other things that are up for auction from Wilmette.
Yeah, they have quite a few items. Well, I think they have 4 items up right now. This time of year is a little slower because governments are kind of slowing down just a little bit, and they have already sold off their items for the year. But there's also, they have a dump truck and a plow, and yeah, actually, I think it's just the 3 items now. But yeah, a dump truck and a plow. So, you know, if you want to start a snow removal business, this is the time to do it.
That's pretty cool, though. And I think it is like like thinking outside of the box type of mentality that you need for this, or maybe there are people who know what you've been doing and know, like, hey, if I kind of need something, this is where I need to go. What are the typical people that you find that get things from your auction?
Yeah, interestingly enough, you know, we make these items available to everyone, and we make it easy to find and easy to bid on, so it's not an intimidating process. You don't have to go down to town hall and fill out a bunch of paperwork and just kind of go through this confusing, inconvenient process. So it's very easy. Everything's online. Everything's transparent. You can see what's for sale. You can find things. You can bid on them. And you know, we found quite a few times over our 20 years, parents buying their kids their first car on Municipid. So we hear that quite often. But you know, we have all kinds of buyers from you know, again, parents, or just we have small businesses, other governments. And you know, it really kind of depends on the type of item, and governments literally sell everything and anything. So we're always interested to see what comes up.
Now, when you say everything, anything and everything, what are some of the, you know, I'll say wildest, but maybe the most unique items that have been on Municipid, that a municipal, you know, area is trying to get rid of, and maybe what are some of the most common?
Yeah. Well, we actually did sell a bridge.
What?
So we did have a bridge for sale. But yeah, so it's all kinds of items. So a lot of times it's actual things governments have bought, used, no longer have a need for. So it's things like police cars, ambulances, fire trucks, dump trucks, tools, IT equipment, kitchen equipment, you name it, when it comes to anything a government might buy and use for their own. Now, in some cases, they come into possession of other items, either through forfeitures or kind of lost and found, that type of thing. So then in those cases, we get a little bit more interesting items like jewelry or maybe music, gear, and sailboats and those kind of things.
Greg, I've got to go back to the bridge. Explain that to us.
Well, that was a long time ago. That was an interesting use case. Basically, a town had no longer needed this bridge. It was being replaced, and you know, the components of the bridge could be actually used for something else. So it ended up working out.
Very interesting indeed. And maybe at this time, what's the highest bid that you all have ever had? What is the highest that something has ever sold for?
Well, also governments sell land on our site, so we've had some parcels of land sell in the millions. We just sold 40 1-ounce gold bars just a few weeks ago. That was kind of interesting. And yeah, so you know, typically the, you know, we're looking, you know, around 10 to 20,000, I would say, on average for an item, again depending on what it is. But yeah, we've sold upwards of over millions of dollars if it comes to land and real estate.
This is so intriguing. All right, so where does the money go?
Yeah, 100% of the proceeds go right back to the government, so they keep 100% of what they sell. And they use that money to reinvest in their communities, whether it's buying new equipment, funding projects, or what have you.
How do you make money?
We earn money from the winning bidder. So if you're the winning bidder on the Tahoe, for example, you'll pay us 9% of that in a separate transaction, and then you pay the village 100% of the winning bid.
Mm-hmm. How did you come up with this? I mean, you're the founder, so how did you come up with this?
Yeah, I was actually on a town council myself, and I saw how we were having problems selling, you know, our surplus goods for a true market value. So we were kind of using these old school systems, our processes, and we'd end up selling our, let's say, used police car for $300 only because no one knew about the sale. and you had to go down to the borough hall, fill out a bunch of paperwork, and so it really limited the number of buyers. And so this really exposes the items to a much larger audience of buyers who compete against each other, and then ultimately the municipalities get a true market value for their items.
So about how many villages or municipalities are on your site at this point?
Around 7,500 at this point nationwide. Yeah, and that ranges from state agencies to local governments, counties, school districts, universities.
Do people have to arrange shipping?
It's pickup only for the most part. In some cases, if the items are smaller and the government is willing to ship, they'll offer that. But pretty much everything is pickup only.
Really interesting. Is there anything about Municipid that you think people misunderstand?
Well, a lot of times they think that the government auctions aren't available to them, but these are. So anyone in the public, 18 or older, can come on the website, verify your ID, and place a bid. And so you're in. And a lot of people think that you need to have some special license or there's some restrictions on it. In some cases there are, but 99.9% of the items that are sold on Municipid, anyone can bid on and buy.
Okay, and what should we know about the Chevrolet Police Tahoe from the city of village of Wilmette?
Well, that's the other nice thing with Municipid is you can really see everything there is to know about the item. So we don't have any information that's hidden or anything like that behind the scenes. Everything is right there on the listing page, which you should have a link for. But you can easily just go on the website and find it. So it has all of the details with the specifications and the features and all that of the Tahoe.
Greg, my budget says I have maxed out my Christmas shopping, but
No.
if I had a little extra, I might just take a look. Maybe I'll at least do some window shopping on the site. Thank you so much. It was great chatting with you today. Happy holidays.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much, Anita.
All
Happy
right,
holidays.
take care. And everybody, that auction that we were just talking about, it ends on Monday, December 22nd. And you can go on municipid.com 24/7 to make those bids. It's going to be very interesting to see what that Tahoe ends up going for. All right, let's take another quick break. And we already have our next expert who is lined up to talk to us about the Consumer Price Index and where inflation is going from here. Welcome back, everyone. It's just about 135 right now. And last night, one of the big parts of expectation and in listening to the president as he was addressing the nation in prime time was what is going on with the economy. And there are varying degrees of measuring that. I want to go ahead and bring in senior economic analyst with Bankrate, Stephen Cates, to talk about where things are right now in terms of inflation, the consumer price index report that's out, and they said that it's a one of a kind, 2 for 1. Explain that for us.
Well, so we didn't get a consumer price index report in October. So now we're getting essentially 2 months for the price of one, looking back at how have prices changed from September to November.
Yeah, and of course we didn't get it in October because of the government shutdown. What are we seeing now that we are getting this combined report?
So we got a pretty surprising report this morning that showed that inflation on a year-over-year basis has fallen quite considerably. In September, we had headline consumer price index reading on an annual basis of about 3%. This morning showed a report of 2.7% on an annual basis. So that's quite a big drop just in 2 months. And to be honest with you, the more time I spend looking at the data and some of the assumptions that were put into this, we do have to take this with a grain of salt.
Dig a little deeper on that when you say to take it with a grain of salt.
So the trouble here is really the government shutdown interrupted the way that the Bureau of Labor Statistics conducts this report. Nothing was collected during October. No data was collected at all. And in November, when the shutdown ended, the Bureau of Labor Statistics got back to work, but not until November 14th. So that was only a partial month. And what that leaves us with is that they have to make assumptions about how prices changed from September to October and from September to November. And those assumptions are not the same as real data. They're good, and I want to be clear that the Bureau of Labor Statistics is full of people who are very dedicated and doing good work. They are not trying to fudge these numbers. I want to be really clear about that. They're not doing anything nefarious. They are simply doing the best they can, given the fact that their process was interrupted in a pretty historic way. So what we are left with is assumptions that may prove not to be accurate. And we'll find out with some corroborated data in December and in January how accurate this report really is. I would say my best assessment is that this is directionally accurate, that we are seeing cooling inflation, but it may not be precisely accurate. We may not be seeing inflation having fallen to 2.7% on an annual basis. It might simply be falling, but some of the assumptions that have taken into place around shelter or food costs or even other retail items may be overstating this.
All right, I see where you're going with that. Yeah. What you mentioned, what's on the shelves and things of that nature. Let's talk about what this signals for everyday people. I mean, will there be any changes that they can actually see, that we can actually see and feel?
Unfortunately, I don't think most people are going to notice this whatsoever. Now, if you nerd out over some of this stuff, this is a really interesting situation. One, for the fact that it's the first after a government shutdown. It is a bit of an unusual report, given that we're missing some data. So that's interesting in and of itself. It's interesting that it's also falling at quite a faster rate than we expected. But for most people, the important caveat to this report in their real life is that cooling inflation still means prices are going up. They're just going up slower than we expected and slower than they were a few months ago. So we're not seeing lower prices across the board. We're simply seeing prices that are rising at a slower rate, and there's a big difference between those.
Is this the tightrope, essentially, that the Federal Reserve warned about?
It is. So the Federal Reserve has been playing a bit of a tug of war between trying to support the labor market and try to fight inflation. And they have few tools to do so, especially when both unemployment and inflation are rising at the same time. keeping rates steady or raising them could hurt the economy. Lowering rates, which they've been doing, is better to support the economy, but could potentially inflame inflation. So they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place in a way. If this data proves to be relatively accurate, and we do see additional reports in December and January showing that inflation is truly cooling and coming down below 3%, that's great news for the Fed. It's great news for all of us because it means that prices are starting to slow down. And that means that the Fed is going to be much more able to support the labor market and support the economy through further easing.
What actually contributes to the CPI going up or down?
So under normal circumstances, demand from consumers and supply of goods is going to be two things that are going to interact to create some of these price structures. So when we look back to the pandemic, when we had sort of supply chain snarls that created some issues in getting goods into the US, we had high demand and low supply. And when a lot of people are chasing few goods, prices go up because they're in high demand. And the sellers of those goods can raise prices and still meet that demand. When we have falling demand, all else being equal, supply staying steady, then that is going to undercut rising prices or create the incentive to lower prices. And that's something that we may be seeing more of now. As demand starts to shrink, as people feel more uncomfortable with the economy, that they're seeing their wage gains fall or be non-existent, people are going to pull back. They're not going to spend as much, but they're going to replace things that they were going to buy with less costly options or go without. And that is going to potentially lower inflation.
Yeah. What are some other things that you think that this report should signal to us?
I wouldn't suggest that anybody take this report in a vacuum as gospel, simply because we're coming off the back of this government shutdown, which did create some unusual circumstances and again created some data that may prove to be a little bit wonky and a little bit off. So I would say that I'm hopeful that this is accurate, but we have to look to reports coming out in January and in February to really test whether this is a true trend and what the magnitude of it really is.
Yeah, so we could see some much different data next month, possibly.
I think it's very possible, yes, or something that is somewhere between here and 3%. I think it would be unusual to expect that we're going to jump right back up to 3% annual inflation. That would truly show that November was an aberration and or completely inaccurate. But I think we're somewhere in the middle. I think we're somewhere in the middle of what we saw today and what we saw in September, because it's very likely that inflation is cooling. It may simply not be cooling at the rate that this report seems to allude to.
Stephen, very interesting. Thank you so much for your time and your expertise. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Have a great day.
All right, you too. Happy holidays. 1:43, everyone. We'll be right back in 2 minutes. All right, everyone, we're back at 147 with one of the biggest talkers of the day.
We knew we'd be talking about the Bears, but did we know it was going to be this?
Oh, Paris, we were ready for Bears-Packers conversations, and then boom, we get this letter to Chicago Bears fans from Kevin Warren, the president of the Bears, and it says in it an update for this, dream that they have of getting a new stadium. And the update is that they're expanding where they're looking. Hey, if we're not going to get any options on the table, any help from the state of Illinois in 2026, if we're not going to be a priority, we're going to expand our options. And that includes Indiana. Boom! Cue the controversy.
Well, I mean, it's not controversial for the people that live in Northwest Indiana or the South suburbs. It's like, hey, that's pretty close. But this is all because the Bears have not been successful at getting legislation through Springfield that they want. The thing is, lawmakers and the governor have told them for the last couple years, we just don't have the appetite to do what you're asking of us. And it's a very curious timing situation when the CEO, right before the biggest game in 7 years, really, for the Bears, distracts everybody with the prospect. And now we have a full-on bidding war where the Indiana governor said, let's get it done.
Well,
we're ready to roll out the red carpet.
So the timing is not just interesting, it could be very favorable to them in terms of, right now they're a hot team.
Well, they're a hot team. So they're going to be talked, now the national broadcast will talk about this. I mean, I think the strategy, again, is Kevin Warren believes that the fans are going to be on his side and they can pressure lawmakers in Illinois to act. That has not been the case so far. Yeah. It seems like Bears fans are tax-paying residents of Illinois, and so they can say, we love the Bears, we want to root them on, but that doesn't mean we want to, give them tax breaks.
Let's go in detail a little bit more on that aspect of it, because when you talk about the legislators in Illinois not giving them a package that's favorable to them, what is the governor's explanation for not prioritizing them right now?
Yeah, they said this is not a priority for 2026, which shouldn't come as a surprise. They've been saying that for a while because we've got things like high property taxes for everybody, high health care costs, high cost of food, inflation, a teetering economy. It's not going to look good for people in public office to all of a sudden, as Cam Buckner, a state representative from Chicago, said, so they're going to come to the front of the line and get this tax break. And basically, the legislation they're looking for would give them the ability to negotiate what their property tax rate is going to be, as opposed to you and I. If we own a house, we own a property, we have to pay whatever that assessed value is. Well, they're saying the Bears, since that's probably going to be very high, they'll get to negotiate and probably save a big bundle on their tax bill, and the Bears have said we can't afford this without that.
Which is a big part of the argument with property taxes right now.
Yeah. I mean, because a lot of people have gotten their reassessment in their bills, and they're skyrocketing. So politicians don't necessarily want to look like they're giving an $8 billion organization a break. And the thing is, I understand Kevin Warren's frustration, but public officials have been saying this from the very beginning, and it's the CEO of the Bears' job to understand what the dynamic is, what the environment is, and how you can get a deal done. And I'm sorry, there have been roadmaps to a deal that the Bears CEO has not followed.
So let's go into those.
Okay.
So the first option was to stay right there at Soldier Field.
Right.
All right. What happened with the first option?
Well, they could do that, and then they're basically saying it's outdated. They've outgrown it. They need more revenue. They need more box seats. They need a bigger space to hold Final Four and the Super Bowl. So they could stay there. There's nothing stopping them from staying there. They just want to leave. So the first thing was they bought the land in Arlington Heights years ago. Then Kevin Warren gets hired as the CEO. He wants to go to the lakefront. He thinks that's a better location.
That was option number 2.
That's option number 2. Comes up with this proposal with Mayor Johnson. That at the time, lawmakers were saying we're not going to give you money for the lakefront.
And it wasn't just lawmakers who were opposed to it. It was the Friends of the
Park. Yeah, there's a big history of Friends of the Park blocking stuff there. But if that's where the Bears wanted to go, there might have been a roadmap. It's just that lawmakers were not willing to just give them. They were asking for nearly $1 billion just straight up. Now the lawmakers. Here's the thing: the Senate President and the House Speaker said, if the Bears and the White Sox were to come together on a plan for their own stadiums, maybe we'll have a financing package for both of them. They said that. That was a roadmap. They didn't do it. Neither of them wanted to do it.
And then there was the old Michael Reese site.
Then there's the Michael Reese site, which the House Speaker came on this show and said, now that's a different story. If they want to go to a site that's underdeveloped and help catalyze a community that needs development, then we're talking. But the Bears said that site doesn't work for them. So then there's Arlington Heights, which they go back to, which is where they were in the beginning.
Right.
Now they're back on that, and they say, this is where we're going forward, but you have to give us this tax legislation. I have to say, every time that Kevin Warren came out and said, we're going to get this done, I was talking to lawmakers saying, we just don't have the votes to do this. And I'm thinking, well, what am I missing here? What do the Bears know? What do the Bears know that I don't here as a reporter? And clearly it was nothing, because they didn't have the votes.
And it was from a statewide perspective, like the mayor of Arlington Heights was fully on board.
He's into it.
Yeah.
Sure. But they're looking for state legislation.
Right.
They're looking, so they need the governor on board, they need lawmakers on board, and they didn't figure out a way to get the math and to get the folks on board. And now their contention is, well, Springfield's just playing hardball with us. They're not working with us. And maybe they have a point on that, but I'll go back to the fact that the political reality is the political reality, and it's up to the Bears to work within that. And there were certain roadmaps, like we said, Michael Reese, like we said, a joint deal with the White Sox.
Right.
So I don't know where this goes. Oh, and then the next deal was Governor Pritzker said, you know what, we will give you your bill if you pay off the debt on Soldier Field.
Correct.
There's a lot of debt on Soldier Field, which the Bears don't technically owe. You know, the tax money is owed on that because the Bears don't own Soldier Field.
But the governor
made a deal.
I'm not going to say you can get a tax break on this.
You get a tax break if you pay off this debt,
right?
Which is around $500 million. The Bears came back with their counter offer of $25 million. That's a big gap.
Yeah.
You know, so there have been roadmaps here for the Bears to get what they want, and they just seemingly have not liked those deals.
But the atmosphere of 2025 is greatly different than the atmosphere of 2024. So
it's only getting harder. It only gets harder with time.
Yeah. Well, in some ways, maybe from an economic standpoint, it's harder.
Right.
But they're looking at it as, hey, man, our team has not looked this good in quite a few years. A 10-win team has not happened in quite a few years.
Yes, and that, to me, signals that must be why the timing of this is what it is. But it's assuming that Bears fans are going to side with the team and say, yes, we should give them tax breaks. And folks can walk and chew gum. Lawrence Holmes on The Score made this point. He said, I wish Kevin Warren understood that Bears fans are also Illinois taxpayers. So it's like you're not asking the Bears fans to have someone else put up the money.
Yeah.
It's them. So,
But there were some people who were, obviously last night when this letter came out, you hear a million opinions on things.
Yeah, of course.
You see a million opinions on things. And there were some people who were upset with Governor Pritzker for not helping them out.
Yeah, I mean, the reaction's been all over the place. And I think the reaction you're going to get is that from some people saying, hey, Illinois is corrupt. Get the heck out of here. Why would they want to do business here? Versus, no, not a dime of taxpayer money. To me, I mean, unscientifically, it seems like 3-1, not a dime. At least on social media, that's what it seems. It'd be curious to see what the sports callers are, because I know the radio stations are taking all those callers today. But I think it falls mostly toward don't take our tax money. And that's not to say that they can't find a deal somehow.
Well, I was going to ask you that. Do you think... Listen, I know Indiana's going to jump all over it.
It could be a threat and leverage, and maybe it works. Maybe it works.
Indiana will jump all over it. We were trying to think this morning even about, okay, what are the states that have 2 teams? Texas has 2 teams in the same
New Jersey,
state.
Both New York teams.
Both New York teams there. So it's not like this is unprecedented, just like we kind of had to think through it, even when they were talking about leaving Soldier Field. Okay, well, what are the other teams that have their actual stadium that's not in the name of the city that's in their name?
Many.
And there are many. So none of this is unprecedented.
No, of course not. It's not unprecedented. But the Chicago Bears have a proud history in Chicago. It's a love affair. It's a franchise that goes back 100 years, and it would be sad. But sure, they might come back with a package, and Indiana's saying we'll pay for most of your stadium with taxpayer. Who knows? If they do come back with a package like that, maybe then the pressure is on Illinois lawmakers to just, okay, let's get this done, because they're giving away the store. So that'll be interesting to see. I'm going to be talking at 3 with a lawmaker in Indiana. I'm going to ask what are taxpayers they're willing to give up?
Yeah.
And if they come up with a proposal pretty quick, maybe Governor Pritzker and General Assembly have to go back to the table. So maybe there's a method to the madness with Kevin Warren, and maybe there is leverage that he can utilize.
You can't negotiate off a losing team.
That's true.
You can't negotiate off a losing team. So if there's ever a good time to kind of hedge your
when
bet,
they're winning.
It would be right now. Right.
It seems like that's what Kevin Warren wanted to do. Like I remember him saying last year, he's like, well, lawmakers are going to see how exciting and how good the Bears are, and they're not going to want to jump off the bandwagon. Well, that happened this year. They're good this year, not last year. They're terrible.
Yeah.
But I still think that lawmakers are looking at the bigger picture of they're interested in their self-preservation, and they're looking at this as, well, if I vote for this, I'm going to be tarred with someone saying I gave a bailout to $1 billion corporation.
Yeah.
So
there are bigger conversations surrounding this one conversation for sure. And so I know we have team coverage as we go through the day.
This is a fun one to follow all day. We'll do Chicago Report. We'll have a little debate with some of the players involved. I can't wait for that. And we're going to get some Indiana reaction. The governor of Indiana already said, let's get it done.
Yeah.
Bring it.
Yeah.
Here's the red carpet.
It's going to be very interesting. And then I think Brett Bugansky is working on it.
He's working on the fan reaction and the history of how we got here, which is a really sordid, twisted affair. It's 3 years now of Kevin Warren just, time is money.
It's
time is
his
money.
job to push it. It is also his job to push it.
Yeah.
If it's going to happen, it will be because he pushed for it.
Or they might just be at Soldier Field until Kingdom Come.
That could happen too. We shall see. We will have had a lot of great conversations in between then and now.
Yeah. Close for us,
Yeah,
Anita.
we will see what happens.
We can get there pretty easily.
We love it. And of course, we're going to have right here on Chicago Live, we're going to have the mayor of Gary who's going to join us before we get out of here right around 3:45. Everybody, he's going to join us so we can talk about it. Yeah. I mean, and they've talked about the revitalization of Gary. Oh, what this would do for it.
It's I remember going to Gary in the 90s before they you were driving through a cloud of soot
Yeah,
and smoke.
yeah.
They cleaned up a lot of that,
Just the mills.
and stuff, but like you would just go into this black cloud
Yeah.
driving through Gary. So, at least people can breathe a little easier there now.
Listen.
But remember, that's where the Gary was pitching that back 25 years ago for a Bears stadium. So
We shall see what
Yeah.
happens. Lots of conversations to be had. Paris, thank you
All
so
right.
much for
You got it,
coming up.
Anita.
We know you're getting ready for Chicago Report, and everybody, we're going to take a 2-minute break, and we'll be right back.
All right.
Welcome back, everyone. 2:02 right now. Let's go ahead and get set up for this second hour of Chicago Live. Some great conversations still to be had. And so we're going to talk about this weather outside. That in and of itself is a conversation. I was telling our producer, I can look right out of the windows here, and I'm seeing people struggle out there. Today has been a nasty day. Look at that. It's just been gray. We've had fog, rain. The wind is ferocious out there. But of course, if this is your time that you have booked to be in Chicago to get your picture in at the Bean, you are still heading out there. We always see people out there regardless of what the weather is doing, but it's just kind of a nasty day out there. So we'll talk more about what we can expect weather-wise with our meteorologist coming up in just a bit. We're also going to be talking a little bit more in depth about the other half of the Bears conversation, which is the Bears-Packers game that is coming up this weekend. That, of course, was the big story before we got dropped with the bigger story, which is now the stadium and the possibilities of where a new stadium could be. We're going to talk about a really interesting new development here in terms of a peanut allergy patch. There are so many people who battle peanut allergies of all ages. There are children, and it seems like it feels like there's an increasing number of children who are diagnosed with peanut allergies, but even adults who have peanut allergies. It could be something simple. And it could be deadly. I mean, there is a wide variety of reactions that people could have, but this peanut allergy patch has now cleared a phase 3 trial, so it's getting a little closer to being an option for people. And we're going to talk to a doctor about where things are going with that and their thoughts on this even being a possibility for people, because at one point in time it was rejected by the FDA, but it seems like it's been revamped and it may make it all the way this time. First, though, we've got to talk about the season that is, which is the shipping season. We're all online or headed out to stores trying to get all of our Christmas shopping done, all of our presents sent to our loved ones who are all over the place. And so shipping in and of itself becomes a bit of a sport, if you will. But it comes with some hard deadlines. And so I want to bring in Danny Scott, the owner of one of the UPS stores in our area, to talk a little bit more about what we can anticipate, the deadlines that are coming up like today, and where we go from here. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. You know, you mentioned the weather a second ago, and the weather might be frightful outside, but at the UPS store, we've got you covered. We can get things out. It's super busy today. Today's actually one of the busiest shipping days of the year. At our store up in North Center, we've had a line to the door almost all day long, and we are fast approaching our last shipping days to really get a guarantee by Christmas.
Yeah. Tell us when that is.
Yeah, so right now you have a 3-day select. That's UPS's product that's guaranteed to be there in 3 days. Tomorrow is the last day for that. That's guaranteed by Christmas. Shipping on December 22nd to guaranteed by the 24th, and December 23rd for the 24th. You have your second day and next day air. Those are all UPS guarantees that will make sure that they get there by Christmas time.
Oh my goodness. Can I give you a little, you got to have a little story time, because I've spent the bulk of the day communicating back and forth between trying to get ready for shows with one of the businesses that I ordered a present for someone from. And I'm thinking I got something in the mail yesterday from that business, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it got shipped to the wrong home. And would you believe it? They actually sent me the form for it. The person I was sending it to ordered something for me from the same business. And so so all day I have been in the frenzy of this shipping madness that you speak of, trying to figure out, wait, did I get something that was supposed to go? What will it get to the place where it needs to go in time? It did get to the place where it was supposed to go on time, but it was them sending it to me, not the gift I was sending to them from the same company. Just super odd. But this just goes to show everybody's in this madness.
Yeah, everyone's in the madness, and you know, every year it happens. People wait till the very end, but it's okay. We have the ability to help them. They can bring in their holiday goods. People traveling that want to ship their gifts ahead of time, make sure it gets there safely. We can do the packaging and the shipping. We're the packaging experts. There's a lot of do's and don'ts for packaging that we want to touch on, about reusing boxes, not reusing those Amazon boxes, getting a new one, getting enough tape on it. But really, what we want people to do is come to your local UPS store, because we can do the packaging and the shipping all in one to make sure that it gets there safely. You also mentioned that people are getting packages and you want to make sure it gets there safely. We do receiving. One of the big things that we specialize in is packaging and receiving. So if you don't know if you're going to be home to get that package, have it shipped to the UPS store. We'll hold it for you. We'll give you a call when it comes in. For a small fee, you pay us to receive it, and then you get your package, and you don't have to worry about being there for when that driver gets there.
Very interesting. Did not know that. What do you think are some things that people just get wrong?
Oh man, just get wrong. They think that the packages might get delivered on a certain day when it might not. So it's making sure you're following the tracking properly to see that it's been delivered. We always recommend, give us a call. Call us to see if it's at our store yet or not. UPS has a great service called Access Point. So if you're not there to receive a package, they'll kick it out to a secure delivery location. That's us. We just ask people, give us a call to see if it's here. We'll check. We'll let you know. We'll even track it for you to see where it is in the logistics to let you know if it's ready for pickup or not.
Okay. And you were talking about some do's and don'ts. You went over a couple. What are maybe a few of the do's that you see the fewest that we get right?
So I already mentioned that the biggest do is go to the UPS store. Come to our stores. We have over 180 stores in the local Chicagoland area, but we have 5,400 stores nationwide, which gives us an expansive reach where we can be the ones to help you do all of it from start to finish. Now, if you want to do some of the packaging yourself at home, that's perfectly fine. Don't use brown paper. Don't wrap it in brown paper. Don't use twine like they used to. Don't do any of that. If you're going to reuse a box, make sure that you've pulled off any of the old labels. I can't tell you how many times somebody comes in with a new label on top, an old label on the bottom, and lo and behold, it gets delivered back to their original address because they saw that old label and they didn't see the new label on top.
If you tape something and bring it in and you know the agent is like, this is not going to last, will they retape it?
Yeah, that actually happened to me today, just a couple hours ago. It was a box that it had clearly been through the system about 4 or 5 times. And we both agreed that, hey, this is going to be the last time this is going to go through. Next time we ship, we're going to put into a new box. It was one it's done over and over again, ship out, and then it comes back. That way he knows it's coming back to him. It's a rental thing. So we can take care of that, and we're going to look at it. We're going to assess it. I will happily put more tape on a box just to make sure that it's secure. But we might also recommend that it's in new packaging, because packages tend to lose at least 50% of their integrity once they go through the shipping rigors. So we want to make sure that that gets there safely. That is my number one priority, is that your gifts get to your recipient safely.
Yeah, and we appreciate that, because that's what we all want in the end. As long as you've been doing this, what are some of the advancements you all have made to be able to get more gifts, more presents, more boxes out to where they need to be this time of year?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Some of the advances that we have more unique tracking, so we can know where packages are a little more live than we used to. There's more to come on that in the coming months. But one of the things that we specialize in here at our store in North Center is fulfillment. So say you have a bunch of other people that you know business-wise that you want to ship them all the same thing to, you can bring it into us and we can handle it all for you. You're a realtor, you want to get gifts out to people, bring it into us. We'll take care of them start to finish. You don't have to stand in line or struggle with doing it online yourself. You can just bring it to us. We do it all from start to finish. We have the ability and we have the technology to be able to do all of those addresses, whether that's 50 or 2,000. We can do all of it.
What are some of the things that people bring in that you're like, we cannot ship this? And I'm sure there's a long list, but give us a few of the things that have come in that you're like, no.
Alcohol is always that big thing. That's a hard one during the holidays, as people want to share a really, really nice bottle of scotch or whiskey or something like that. That's something that we really can't do. You have to have certain licenses because they're state laws. So sometimes CBD, THC things, because those are fun gifts. People like to get those. We can't really touch on that. So we have to be careful when we're shipping things like that, hazardous materials. But we are all trained to keep an eye out for that. So we're going to make sure that you're not inadvertently sending something that you shouldn't be.
So if people can't bring alcohol to UPS and have it shipped, what are the options that you would tell them to do, to use? Yeah,
there's a lot of local liquor stores that sometimes will have a license to be able to do it. We always recommend to follow up with them to see what they recommend. In certain times, they have agreements with UPS. We can help do the packaging. You can bring them all in. We can get the wine shippers, pack them all up, get them all prepped, and then they can take them over to that store and get them moving.
Okay. Anything else that we need to know in the holiday rush over the next few days? I mean, literally, it's hard to believe that Christmas is 1 week away. But
yeah, well, it's under a week now. We have four.
Come on, Danny.
I'm not giving you a lot of time here. And again, it happens every year. Just get in as soon as you can. We're open Saturday and Sunday. All those packages will start moving on Monday. If you need to get your greeting cards printed, you can send them over to us. We are the holiday printing store. We can take care of all of that and get them moving to where they need to go.
You know what? And I was going to let you go, but what are some of the other services that you all provide that people maybe don't realize that you provide? You mentioned a couple, so let's go over a few more.
I feel like at the UPS store, we have our hand in a lot of different things, which just gives us that opportunity to be that one-stop shop. So you've got your shipping, you've got your packaging. We do printing. We specialize in printing greeting cards, business cards, anything on paper, signage. We can do all of that. We do shredding. We have notary services. And then, like I mentioned, the receiving services. We have mailbox services, which is if you have a business you want to register, you can do it through our store. You can just get a one-off package delivered to our center to make sure it's there securely and safely. And then fulfillment. We do fulfillment all day long.
All right, tell us about where your particular UPS store is located.
Yeah, so I'm up in the North Center neighborhood of Chicago, which is Lincoln, Irving, and Damon. I'm at 4044 North Lincoln Avenue. We've been here serving our community that we love since 2003.
Danny, great speaking with you. I think you've helped a lot of us out today, even though the headache is probably going to be sustained as we try to work it all out. But maybe more folks will just head over to you all and say, hey, take it, do what you need to do.
That's right. Big or small, we ship it all.
I love it. Thank you so much. Great chatting with you.
Thank you.
And happy holidays.
Same to you.
All right, 2:15, everyone. We're going to take a 2-minute break, and we're going to be back talking about the Bears and the Packers. $2:17, everyone. Let's talk a little football. Going to bring in Chris Kay with our sports team here at Fox 32. Thank you so much for your time from Hallis Hall.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
All right. So we were speaking a few moments ago with Paris Schutz, our political reporter, as we were going into the politics of the big announcement yesterday, the Bears saying, oh, maybe we'll look at Indiana. From a sports perspective, what are your thoughts before we get into the meat of the matter of the game this weekend?
Yeah, it's an interesting discussion to have from the sports perspective, too, because it really feels like it's a very political conversation. And once the politics is taking center stage, I think it's difficult to even think about the sports side of things, because that's what it all comes down to at this point. It's all the politics and the different things that have to be considered there. But I think specifically sports-wise, people kind of clamor a little bit saying, are they going to be the Indiana Bears? Is the Arlington Heights Bears? It's such a funny conversation to have. But I think at this point specifically, the Bears want, from a sports perspective, something that not only can house the Bears for a long time, but also they want something that can also house a lot of really other exciting things. They've mentioned it before: Super Bowl, Final Fours, national championship games too. And I think from that perspective, I think from a sports perspective, in that vein, it's important to have that. And I know that it's important to the Bears. It's also important to the administration, the ownership part of it too as well.
What are some of the things that hinder them from being able to have those other events right now?
Very, very easily and simply, there's no dome over Soldier Field. When you have the national championship game for college football, for example, most people want that as neutral a field as possible, and you get that with domed stadiums like Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis is one. Mercedes-Benz Stadium, I believe, in Atlanta is another one too. They're fantastic stadiums that have domes, and it's at this point, if you're in January, you run the risk of playing in a massive snow game, and that'd be a lot of fun to me personally. I think that'd be a lot of fun to watch, but I know that the NCAA, and when they have these events, they want them to have as neutral a field as possible. And unfortunately, you can't play basketball in snow. I know I've tried back in the day as a child, but like I don't think you can do that with the Final Four and the national championship game there too.
So were you shocked by the mention of Indiana?
I'm not going to lie, I really wasn't that shocked, only because I know the Bears have exhausted a lot of opportunities, also a lot of they've exhausted the search when it comes to this kind of thing. And I like to point out that our very own Lou Canellis brought it up first. I want to say back in August when he was talking on 670 The Score, mentioned the possibility of Northwest Indiana. He said it first then, and it kind of has been in the back of my mind ever since, and I could feel it kind of picking up steam ever since.
Okay, well, we'll continue to see where that goes. When you talk about things picking up steam, really, that announcement kind of let the steam out a bit of the buildup of this week. You know, we were all Bears Packers focused until that came out. So let's refocus in the midst of it and talk about this upcoming game. Where are we in preparation there at Hallis Hall?
Oh, goodness. It's preparation Friday, which today is Thursday, obviously, but since everything's moved up days with the game being on Saturday, usually everything that happens on a Friday would happen today. And that being said, we've got the injury report, and the last injury report of the week has Rome Odunze and Luther Burden out for Saturday's game against the Packers. And that is a very big blow, but I know the Bears have been kind of expecting this maybe a little bit. If you can kind of connect the dots from what Ben Johnson said on Monday, saying, hey, we may have to protect a guy like Rome Odunze from himself. He wants to be out there playing so bad. But at some point, if you have a foot injury like he has, you kind of have to think about, well, what's worth the risk? Is it worth risking having him out there and losing him for the rest of the season, or maybe potentially having him out there for the rest of, you know, the San Francisco game on Sunday night the week after, or the Detroit Lions game to end the season, which could potentially be a clinching game. You never know what that looks like too. And of course, the playoffs beyond. We don't want to get there because the Bears are not in the playoffs yet. But you have to think about those kinds of discussions and conversations. And it's difficult, but I know the Bears have all the faith in the players they have behind them. Jade Walker, Devin Duvernay, Maurice Alexander, to name a few. Ben Johnson talked about guys today that practiced really well in training camp and also showed out in preseason, which they're going to be looking to now, and arguably the biggest Bears game we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, and it is truly a part of the league, that next man up mentality.
It really is, and I don't think there's been a Bears team in the last 20 or 30 years that's really embodied it as much as this team. I mean, we saw it this week with DeMarco Jackson earning NFC Defensive Player of the Week honors. He had a sack and interception against the Cleveland Browns, and this is a guy that was a fourth, maybe fifth string linebacker that the Bears picked up at the end of training camp, and that's not easy to do. It's not easy to have that confidence in you, especially when you get thrust in the spotlight like DeMarco Jackson was. This is a guy that was supposed to be a special teams player, and now he's wearing the green dot in his helmet to call defensive plays. And like, that's a lot of stress, but the coaching staff has done a really good job of getting these guys ready, not just to play the positions ahead of them, but maybe play a different position. We had this discussion today with Ben Johnson saying, hey, it was interesting to have Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards play different linebacker positions. Maybe that's not what they're used to. But if you have them do it now or do it in the training camp part of the season, they're prepared just in case they need to play that position down the line. And I think we're starting to see the benefits of that decision come to light now.
It really speaks to the change in mentality for this team this year.
Not only mentality, but like just the way that things work. And I've been covering the NFL only for a short time, but when you consider college sports, it's something that I've covered the most. And that's not something you do. You don't play guys in multiple positions as often as the Bears have done, especially in training camp going forward, because you don't want to really convolute the game. You really want to simplify a lot of these things. And for some of the really, really good college players, maybe they play multiple positions. You can put them in different spots and watch them flourish just because they are that good. But I think this Bears team is leaning into the idea that the players they have really are that good. They are the best at their position. They're giving them the confidence to do so. And I think we're starting to see that manifest its way not only in the positions that they're playing, but also in special teams, but also in parts that they just didn't think they'd be able to play at. I think Nashawn Wright is a good example at the start of the season. DeMarco Jackson is also a good example now. And we're going to see on Saturday how that's going to manifest in the wide receiver room.
Yeah. What were some other key points from Ben Johnson today?
I think he was talking a lot about just kind of getting ready to play a game, like this game. And I mean, he understands the importance of it, because this really is the biggest Bears game that I think I've watched since 2018 when the Bears clinched the NFC North against the Packers. Maybe even going further back to that, which is a winner-take-all game in 2013 against the Bears and Packers. And there's a common theme here. It's the Bears and the Packers. And I think this is not only just a statement game to say, hey, we're atop the NFC North, but this is also one of those games to kind of say, hey, like, this isn't the same old Bears. And that's been a recurring theme from the beginning of the season up until now, where this is not the same Bears. We're not going to lose the games we've always lost. And that includes the Packers. You know, they've already lost to the Packers earlier this year, but I think something that Cole Kmet, tight end, said earlier that it kind of stuck with me is he said, you know, the first game against the Packers, maybe the noise is a little bit too loud. Maybe we were pressing a little bit. There's a lot of pressure in that game. We saw it manifest in the first half before we settled into the second half. And this week, not so much. This week, the noise level's been a little bit down. We understand what's ahead of us, but we just have to go out and win the game. And I think kind of staying in the moment, kind of staying where their feet are is something that's going to prove to be useful this Saturday.
I don't know. The pressure seems to be that much bigger to me this go round than the first one. I mean, it was like, all right, if you could sweep the Packers, fantastic. But now it's like, oh no, we need this one win against the Packers.
I mean, you could go into Merriam-Webster themselves and find a dictionary word that describes a word that describes this game. I mean, like a necessity, like desperate for it. And Ben Johnson used that word last week to describe a win over the Browns. They are desperate for this win. And it's easy to laugh at that, but if you're sitting back and thinking, man, if Ben Johnson's desperate to beat the 3-10 Browns, how desperate is he to beat this Packers team? And, you know, a lot of noise was made beforehand of Ben Johnson over when he was hired, the day he at Hallis Hall set up there, saying, you know, I really like beating Matt LaFleur twice. And you know, that came full circle in Lambeau, and we saw a lot of the Packers fans, and especially the Packers themselves, just kind of throw that in the Bears' face. But I think now that that's kind of out of the way, all that stuff, the talk has been talked. Now it's time to walk some of the walk, and we're really going to see the mettle of this coaching staff on display Saturday, where the words can barely describe just how massive this game is for the Bears, and just going forward in Ben Johnson's tenure as Chicago Bears head coach. But it doesn't feel like it. It really doesn't feel like it, especially here at Hallis Hall, where the feeling is that of like just business as usual. No, we know that we are in a position, we put ourselves in this position, and it's just the next game. And the Packers, sure.
Yeah.
But it's just the next game, and they really are focusing on winning that next game.
I think for sure Ben Johnson has solidified that he was a good hire. But what will a win this weekend do for the team? What happens if they win?
Logistically, if the Bears win, they are atop the NFC North. They are in a position to not only win the NFC North, but to clinch a playoff spot. And it all just depends on what happens after that, right? Because if the Bears win on Saturday, then all eyes will turn to the Detroit Lions against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday afternoon, where if the Lions lose that game or tie, the Bears will have a playoff spot clinched. That means they can go into the next couple of weeks and be like, we are in the tournament, we are in the playoffs. But if they also win, then if they win the next weekend against the San Francisco 49ers, they will have won the NFC North, which, I mean, improbable considering what we thought at the beginning of the season, which it was the Lions division to lose. The Packers are a Super Bowl contending team, and the Vikings are also there too. We can't forget about that. But I mean, in terms of just the big picture part of it, oh my goodness, to beat the Packers in year one of Ben Johnson, in a year that they are accomplishing things that Bears fans thought would never be possible for the Chicago Bears, it really shows that the sky is the limit for the Ben Johnson era. And it makes you really look forward to the idea of, hey, this team could make noise in the playoff. Not only because they've beaten teams that needed to beat, won games that needed to win, but they beat the Eagles. And if they win, they'll have beaten the Packers. They'll have beaten a lot of teams that they're supposed to beat. And I think after that, you kind of have to sit back and think, can this team really win a Super Bowl? Which, let me tell you, that is something I did not expect to ask. Like, it's not a question I expected to ask myself this season, period.
I don't think many people did. Playoff tickets are already on sale, even though we still have a lot of math to math.
There's a lot of math to math. There's a lot of games left to play. There's a lot of football left to come. But I mean, hey, football tickets are on sale for the playoffs. That's impressive.
That means that you've already done quite a bit right to even get that far. Chris, we're excited. We're excited about the possibilities for this weekend and the big conversations to come.
Oh, I can tell you we're still excited to have the conversations and talk about them at Fox, too.
Okay, now, of course, this weekend's game isn't just big because of the matchup. It's big because it's on Fox 32.
It is on Fox 32. And the last game that wasn't on a Sunday was the Eagles game, and that was on Prime, which is also on Fox 32 as well. But this one specifically will have the primetime spot on Fox 32. So this is where you can watch it and you can catch every second of the action. And then after the game, after the whistle with Tina Nguyen, Patrick Designer, and Jim Miller will also air. Also exciting stuff. We're going to talk all about it and more.
All right. Look forward to it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right. It's 2:31, everybody. Boy, oh boy. Just the Bears have a lot of us going this week. I just hope that the weekend's on a very positive note Saturday night. Let's take a quick break, and we're going to come back and talk about that peanut allergy patch. Okay, it's 2:33 right now, everyone, and we're getting word of a horrible tragedy that's played out in North Carolina. Giving you a live picture now to the scene of a plane that's gone down. This was a Cessna that went down in Statesville, North Carolina. Multiple deaths are being reported here. This was a business jet, and they do believe this was connected to a retired NASCAR driver. Okay, here is the information that we know at this point in time. There were 6 people on board that plane at a regional airport in North Carolina here. This was used by NASCAR teams quite frequently, Fortune 500 companies in that area. It immediately erupted into a ball of fire when it went down, killing, again, 6 people. We know that flight records show the plane was registered to a company run by retired NASCAR driver Greg Biffle. Again, 6 people that were on board, all dead. This is just horrible information coming from the Federal Aviation Administration. There were people in the area that saw it go down at a golf club nearby, that saw it go down in that big plume of fire and smoke that went up into the air. The National Transportation Safety Board says that they are investigating this. The FAA investigating. AccuWeather says that there was some drizzle. As you can see here, clouds. It was a cloudy day at the time of the crash. Still looks very cloudy in this area. Don't believe all of that is smoke. I think this was, there were some clouds there today, all day. The plane took off from the airport shortly after 10 this morning. And it says that they returned, attempting to land there shortly after. Something went horribly wrong. The plane had planned to fly to Sarasota, Florida, to Treasure Cay International Airport in the Bahamas before returning to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and then to Statesville. That was the flight plan. But again, something went horribly wrong here. And it went down there at that airport, the regional airport in Statesville. There is scattered debris. If you can really see on that right-hand side, there are some of the emergency responders standing off to that side, again, as they are in the very early stages of an investigation as to why this plane went down, killing 6 people. But that's where we are. That's the information that we know right now. Again, the plane was registered to retired NASCAR driver Greg Biffle. We know that 6 people have passed. Again, just 1 week from Christmas. So our thoughts and prayers are with all of their families. We'll continue to look for updates as they come in. Horrible situation. It is 2:36 now, and we did promise you before we got word of that breaking news that we were going to talk about this peanut allergy patch. So many people deal with peanut allergies, and it can be very extreme. So it's now succeeded in a late-stage study 5 years after the FDA rejected it. Dr. Rushi Gupta is joining me now. Dr. Gupta is the director for the Center for Food Allergy and Asthma Research and also a professor of pediatrics and medicine at Northwestern Feinberg School of Medicine. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
What's your reaction to even hearing that this is back after 5 years and making its way through?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thrilled. I couldn't be more happy. We need more treatments for food allergy. Food allergies impact about 1 in 13 kids, 1 in 10 adults. So very common, 33 million Americans. So having treatments that increase your threshold is very important.
Phase 3, what does that mean? Walk us through a trial.
Yeah, trials take a long time. You know, drug trials are very cumbersome, and they've been at it for a long time. So perseverance, definitely. But what this trial showed is, so what this is. So for peanut allergy, we can back up a little. We've recently had some new treatments. So some of the treatments include oral immunotherapy, where you eat small amounts of the food over time, and it builds up your immune system's ability to tolerate it. So when you may have reacted to very little, like crumbs, now you don't react to a peanut or 2 peanuts. It's not a cure, but it's a good treatment. Now we have a couple things, OIT, sublingual immunotherapy, and a biologic. And we've been waiting for this patch for a long time because it does the same thing. It through the skin, it gives you small amounts of peanut protein over time. So it increases your ability to tolerate small amounts. So this study showed that people who could previously, and these are children, so one exciting thing about the patch is it's easier for families to use on children because you just stick it on them and it's all happening through the patch. And so for children ages 4 to 7, that's what this study was in, if you use that patch for 1 year for kids who could tolerate, let's say, 30 milligrams, so that's 1/10 of a peanut, so a very small amount.
Wow.
After 12 months, 50% of the children in this trial were able to tolerate 1 full peanut. So, for example, you've got a 5-year-old in school and they're, playing with other kids, and then there's some crumbs of peanut. You don't have to worry as much. Now, we don't know how much you can eat or if you will truly grow out of it, but that is a big improvement in quality of life for these kids.
Wow. And yeah, I mean, a patch would be easier than an EpiPen. Talk about how cumbersome trying to deal with a peanut allergy for a child can be. I mean, they're all over the place, bouncing, from here to there. You've got a million different things that are happening. Just talk about how cumbersome it can be for a family.
Yeah, it's very cumbersome. My own daughter has a peanut allergy, so I know it personally. But it is such a big issue, especially when your kids are that young, because kids put their fingers in their mouths and orifices, all day long. And if there are crumbs of something on a table or somewhere, I mean, what the positive thing is, so many new policies in schools say peanut or nut free, which is great, but you never know when you're out and about, where they're going to encounter little bits of it. And so it impacts your quality of life because food is everywhere, especially for kids. It's 3 meals a day, snacks, and every single time you have to be extremely careful. And kids are not with you all the time, so you're trusting other people to make sure they're safe. And that can be really challenging because schools are busy and there's lots of people. So the better we can treat it, and if we can increase their threshold, the easier it becomes on the whole family. So very, very excited for this study. It's going to go to the FDA, I think, early 2026, and hoping for an approval sometime next year so we can offer it to families.
Talk about the wide variety of reactions that people can have given a peanut allergy.
Yes, and this goes for all food allergies. So we're focused on peanut because this is a treatment specifically for peanut, but there's 9 top allergens: peanut, tree nuts, shellfish, finfish, especially in adults, soy, wheat, egg, milk, and sesame. So all of these foods, if you have a true IgE-mediated food allergy, can cause symptoms in all organ systems. That's why it gets really complicated. So some of the most common ones you hear about are skin, so hives, itching, irritation, swelling. A lot of times kids get feeling in their mouth that leads to throat, so feeling that tightness in their throat, trouble breathing, so respiratory, you can have chest tightness and trouble breathing, and then GI is really common, so vomiting is a very, very common symptom. And then what you were talking about, the severe reactions, we call it anaphylaxis, and it can happen really fast, and you can even have a drop in blood pressure in these kids and in adults. So this isn't a cure, I want to say. It increases your threshold, but what you mentioned about EpiPen, it is very important to carry an epinephrine device with you still, even if you are on this treatment. So, and now the exciting thing there, though, is we have a variety of new epinephrine devices. So we have ones that talk to you. We even have a nasal epinephrine now. So there's a lot of advances in the world of food allergy that are really improving people's lives.
Do those advances, I mean, we're talking, like you said, about peanut allergies, but is something like this, the patch, do you think that it's going to come for like gluten allergies or sesame allergies?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I know this company, and they are working on other foods. So it is exciting because getting your threshold up on all your food allergies. And about 40% of people have multiple food allergies. So oftentimes they'll have peanut, and they'll also have some of the tree nuts or some of the other foods. So I know that it's in the works, and hopefully if one works so well, they will be able to get the other ones out. But having options for treatments, and especially a patch, especially for those young kids, is just a remarkable new development.
Yeah. What do you think this says about where things are going when we're starting to see more movement like this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is such a positive sign. I've been studying food allergies here for 20 years. And like I mentioned, my own child has one. And so in 20 years, I've seen such advancements. You know, we finally now have new treatments. We also have, you know, new auto injectors or new devices. We have new diagnostics coming out. I feel like things are getting so much better, and there's just so much more awareness and education. We even have prevention. So if anyone out there has a young infant, you know, we know that if you can get some of these allergens into your baby, especially peanut, early, you have a higher chance of preventing peanut allergy. So, you know, if we can hit it on both prevention for new babies and then on treatment, for people who already have it, you know, hopefully we can turn the tide and really see food allergies not having such an impact as it does on everyday life.
Yeah, in your family's case, you mentioned your daughter having a peanut allergy, or others. I mean, is it surprising when you get a peanut allergy at this point? Do you feel like more people are being diagnosed with peanut allergies, or we're just more acute at being able to recognize them?
Yeah, you know, in the past, like I would say a generation, right? When we talk about when we were kids, you know, no one had peanut allergy, there were no restrictions in schools. And in one generation, it's increased so dramatically. That was surprising. We even called it an epidemic. I mean, 2.2% of people in the US have a peanut allergy. That's a lot. So we do think it has increased. It is also, people are more aware of it, definitely. But I do think the prevalence, we study that prevalence, and it has increased. Now, I'm hoping it's starting to plateau. And then what I would love to see with all these new treatments and prevention is it start to go down. And us learning why. Why do people develop it? It's not just genetics, because it happens so rapidly. So we're starting to better understand different aspects of our environment that might be turning it on. But the one interesting thing is that adults are developing new onset food allergies. We used to think it was all kids, but a lot of adults are developing a new allergy as an adult. And the number one for adults is shellfish, but peanut isn't far behind.
Yeah, I think that's so scary when you've gone most of your life without an allergy to something, then all of a sudden you're like, wait, what's happening?
Especially if you love the food.
Yeah.
You want it in your diet. So
and I've heard that
you've had
so
a chance
much.
to enjoy it.
You're like, all the other changes going on midlife, like, why this?
That's right. Absolutely. But if families out there, you know, have food allergy in their family, please, you know, go talk to your allergist. There's so much now, and especially with this new patch coming out soon, there are things you can do. We used to think there was nothing you could do but avoid it, but now there are.
That's wonderful to hear. Thank you so much, Dr. Rushi, for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Have a great holiday, and thank you.
Happy holidays. Take care. 2:47, everybody. Mark Strell just walked in here, so we're going to bring in one of our favorite meteorologists in just a few moments. So give us 2 minutes, we'll reset, and he'll be here. 2:50 right now. Mark Strell's here. And Mark, I've been looking out of the window during our broadcast here, our time with Chicago Live, and oh, it just looks nasty out there. I mean, people are enjoying the bean, but...
You know, that's a shiny shot, even on a nasty day, isn't it? I mean, it could be snowing, the beans all
It's always going to
silvery.
look good.
It's always going to look good, even on a day like today where it's cloudy,
Yeah.
it's cold, it's windy, it's rain. I mean, look at that. That really gives you more of a feel for what's going on in Chicago today.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got low clouds, we've got raindrops on the lens, we've got raindrops on your windshield, raindrops on your head, and if there's the low clouds. Come on, sing it. I like it. You know, you look at the lake. One thing I always check out there on that shot is the break wall. And when you see the waves slamming into that break wall, you know it's really windy. So you look at that picture today and you go, well, it doesn't look so bad. That's because instead of winds coming off the lake, they're kind of coming from the other way. They're coming from the west and from the northwest. And so it is very windy today. We have some incredibly high wind gusts today. They were forecast to go up to around 50 miles per hour at times, so
Wow.
very blustery conditions. And the forecast, oh my goodness, it is a crazy forecast. We have 50s today. We've got 20s tomorrow. We got 40s on Saturday. We got 20s on Sunday, and then 30s on Monday, and then 40s Tuesday, and then Wednesday for Christmas Eve.
Oh,
We are
Chicago.
all over the board.
It is Chicago.
Yeah.
It's
But this
classic
is,
Chicago.
This is even crazy for this time of year for Chicago. I mean, the up, down, up, down. I mean, we are being totally yo-yo yanked around by the weather.
I still wore like the big coat today just
Smart.
because of the wind and the rain this morning.
Well, and you were wise because now when you go home, and especially if you come home late tonight, it's going to be very cold. It's going to get down into the teens overnight tonight and 20s tomorrow. So it's going to be a cold night, and especially with now the winds are going to slowly die down a bit. But yeah, you don't want to be blown around in some little windbreaker like jacket,
Yeah.
you know, even though, and that happens so often. You know, people are like, oh, well, it was 60 degrees this morning. Yeah, but did you watch the weather? There's a cold front slamming in from Antarctica. It's going to snow. And in fact, it could likely snow later on tonight.
We get all the seasons in one day around here. That's
Literally.
That's
Literally. Yeah, it's crazy talk.
Yeah.
But if you're traveling for Christmas Eve right now, looks incredibly warm, incredibly mild. We've got temperatures up into the 40s, and it looks mostly dry. So, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, I'd like to have a white
the
Christmas.
snow from the last couple of weeks. If we could have flip-flopped, I think.
Yeah. But I got to tell you, you know what? I think a lot of people would forego the snow, the white Christmas snow, for safe travel.
Oh, absolutely.
And especially
Yeah.
when it comes to the airports. I mean, you know, nobody wants to be, a lot of folks, kids
Stuck
are
in the
dashing
airport.
Yeah, you don't want to be, that's the worst thing in
Yeah,
the world.
been there.
Yeah, have you?
Done that.
You had to
Yeah.
camp out at Camp
Oh,
O'Hare, huh?
oh my goodness. Stories for days.
Yeah.
Mike Kaplan could tell you. He keeps track of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you are right. I mean, from a travel perspective, it's wonderful to hear
Right.
that. Obviously, we have had many conversations today about the Bears-Packers game this weekend. People had to literally put on Bear costumes for the Bears-Browns game.
Right.
But this weekend...
Yeah, it looks a lot better. I mean, we still have some wintry weather coming in, but still, I mean, when I say wintry weather, I'm talking about December temperatures, but it's not going to be that unbearable cold that we had this last. I can't even imagine. I mean, you know, there are some hardy Bear fans because Soldier Field was pretty much filled up, right?
Listen, I was there inside, but there were, looking at the stands right before the game, you're like, oh, did people like stay home? Like,
Yeah.
no, people waited
No.
to the very last
Yep.
minute to go sit in those seats. Like, I think most Bears fans, one, are super loyal, so they'll be
Yeah,
there.
true.
But two, are very nuanced in how, I mean, they know the protocol.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, if it's going to be 35 below zero,
Yeah.
you don't go there an hour beforehand. You like keep warm up until the last minute, and then you like run out to the game, and then afterwards you're not loitering around the stadium. You're going back to wherever you came from, probably a nice warm car.
Yeah. But what a wonderful experience. Obviously, we're glad to get better temperatures this upcoming weekend as we get ready to go up against the Packers. So we just got to prepare for the roller coaster ride.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be an interesting game, I think, too, with the weather, because, you know, you think, okay, I love it when warm weather teams come in and then we have temperatures like we had before.
Right,
I would love to see like a Miami or a Houston.
Last weekend.
Yeah, last weekend. And, when you have somebody like Cleveland, it's like, okay, well, they're kind of a cold weather team too. I just love to see those guys come in from, the South and suffer, in Soldier Field. Just suffer.
Spoken like maybe a former player himself.
Well, yeah, I played football back in the day, but, I just always like to see the other team suffer due to, like normal, natural, conditions, the weather. I mean, that's not anything like snaky or anything. It's just the weather. And we have an advantage.
Sometimes
here.
it works in our favor, you know?
It does.
Sometimes
we
it
might as well
works.
take advantage of that.
Yeah, we look forward to that. Yeah. So when is this rain moving out?
Well, we've got some rain that'll be pushing out here this evening, and then that rain actually could mix with a little bit of snow, change over to some snowfall. It's not going to be really appreciable snowfall, just a little, some flakes, flurries, and then we have, dry really for the next 7 days. There's nothing really significant coming our way, and that's why I say travel weather as we go back into Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. We're in pretty good shape, along with some pretty mild temperatures in the 40s. So as a kid, growing up around here, you would always kind of look at Christmas one of two ways. Okay, we've got snow. Okay, cool. I asked for a sled. I asked for some skis. Or it'd be the opposite way. We're like, okay, no snow. I'm getting a new bike this year. So I'm going to be able to ride. It might be a little cold, but I'm going to go out and ride my bike because it's not going to be snow. So, you can kind of play it one of two ways.
Yeah, kids are always going to find a way to play it for Christmas.
Well, right. They're going to play with their good
One
stuff.
way or another,
right?
Whatever the weather is doing, they will find a way to make it work to their advantage for sure. Thank you so much. Anything else that we need to keep in mind?
Always have someone to cuddle with when you get when it gets really cold, like last weekend.
There you go.
Always have an auxiliary source of warmth.
That works.
Share the love, people.
That works, Thank you, Mark. All right, everybody. It's about 2:57. We'll be right back in 2 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. Just about 3 o'clock here on our Thursday afternoon. So let's go ahead and gear up for this hour with you. It'll be our final hour with you here for Chicago Live. I'll walk through a few of the things that we're expecting in this hour. Still some big conversations to be had. We're going to talk with the Vice President of Fire TV Experiences at Amazon. Huge announcement that Instagram for TV is launching. First on Fire TV devices, and we know there are plenty of those out there. So we're going to be talking about what we all should keep in mind if we are on Instagram and you want to maybe stop trying to see it on your phone and you would rather just see it on a big screen. It's going to be an opportunity that will be available to you. One of our biggest trending videos online right now is a confrontation between Evanston Mayor Daniel Biss and the commander of Operation Midway Blitz, Gregory Bavino. Obviously, this week, Operation Midway Blitz, although it had seemed to kind of be quiet over the last couple of weeks, maybe a month, where we only really saw 1 or 2 major raids over that point, over that time frame. It really ramped up again this week. And so that moment of Mayor Biss and Commander Bavino exchanging some words has really taken off online. After the exchange, Commander Bavino had quite a bit to say online. So we're going to give Mayor Biss a chance to talk about that exchange between the two of them and even what he had to think about what was said afterward online from Commander Bavino. That's coming up right around 3:15 or so. But first we start with Care for Friends. They have a wonderful delivery service for people in need, and they have reached quite the milestone this week. Hope Pavich, the executive director of Care for Friends, and Marcos Alvarado, who is the programs manager at Care for Friends, are joining me now to talk about their 5,000th delivery. Thank you so much for your time.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much. And Marcos is with me. There he is.
So tell me about the work that you all do.
Sure. So we are a Chicago-based nonprofit. We've got locations in South Loop, Edgewater, and Lincoln Park. And we provide resources to people who are experiencing food insecurity and housing insecurity. And so we do that through a range of programs, and one of them being our grocery delivery program, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And then we also have hot meals, as well as health clinics and food pantries, as well as housing assistance and clothing and toiletries.
How long have you all been around?
We started as a mission of a local Episcopal church in 1968, and we became our own separate 501c3 in 2012. I've been with the organization since 2019, and Marcos, you've been with us since 2022?
Yes, 2022.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about getting to 5,000. What does a typical week or a day or week or month look like? How do we get to 5,000?
So we actually started this program as a response to the COVID pandemic. We had, in 2019, launched an after-school program for unhoused youth, and when COVID kicked off, we realized that we wanted to continue supporting those students, but didn't want to be redundant in the way that we were supporting them. And so after speaking with guidance counselors and teachers at Chicago Public Schools, we realized that the best way to support the students would be through grocery delivery. So we utilized one of the grants that we received during the pandemic to kind of kickstart this program. And at that time, we realized that even if a student is going to Lincoln Park High School, they may be living in a totally different part of the city. So we wanted to make sure that we were not putting any geographical restrictions on where we were delivering. And so because of that, this program has really spanned across the wards. So we deliver to over 30 of the 50 wards in the city. And obviously we receive these referrals directly from the schools, who know exactly who are the most in need of these deliveries. And so because of that, the need is really expansive. And so we hit 5,000, I wouldn't say quickly, but unfortunately pretty easily because of the need in the city. We really focused on families who are strapped, not just for time, but also may live in transportation as well as food deserts.
Mm-hmm. You all are doing amazing work. The 5,000th delivery, I understand, had some significance in terms of the location too. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so recently, Care for Friends, we are on the Wintrust mural. So for the next 6 weeks, I believe, if you're driving past that way, you will see a wonderful mural installation on the Wintrust building done by David Lee Sisko, who's a Chicago artist, and he's done a ton of stuff in the city. So we were super grateful and thankful to have him in. And you'll be able to see that mural. And this 5,000th delivery was so special because we kind of navigated it to be around that area where we could see the mural in person in our face, you know, and it's really cool. You know, like I said, it's almost like, you know, we're taking a victory lap. It's something we didn't really realize until we got to really this month, and we're getting stuff together. And you know, Hope's like, by the way, you know, we're approaching our 5,000th care pack, which I think is crazy. I think I alone have probably accounted for like easily like 2,500 of those. So it's
a little bit more.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, you were the driver for that 5,000th delivery. What did that moment feel like?
It's a little crazy. It's you know, to put anything you do into perspective, especially over that amount of time and that amount of work, is something I never really thought about. I mean, it just goes to show how much it's needed. I mean, we go, I'll tell you, while we do it, you know, I may not be thinking about that. We're going all over the city, from like we like to say, O'Hare to Hegewisch. So there's a lot of times where I'm not so much thinking about you know, the significance of each care pack, but just making sure that it gets there, these folks get their food, and especially for Christmas, they get presents for the students and the kiddos. So you know, and it's the significance to me is always around being able to actually do the job and get it there. And so when you realize you've done it 5,000 times, it is it's I don't know, it's, you know, something that maybe a lot of people don't get to experience. It's a big number to do anything.
And tell me about the family that you delivered that meal to.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was, I believe, their first or second time with us, the second time. And, you know, new to the program, they needed assistance food-wise for the month. And so we happily obliged. And this family in particular is a single mother with 3 kids, I believe. Yeah, with 3 kids. And so, you know, it's, everyone needs help whenever. It could be whenever. And so, you know, for us to be able to help her, and then on top of that, since it's Christmas time, we were able to get gifts for all 3 of her kids, as well as presents that all the kids can play together, like Uno, Candyland, and, you know, some goodies. I think we even threw in some Illuminati's pizza that we had, so they're getting deep dish for Christmas as well. And so, yeah, she's the perfect example of the type of people that we try to help each and every day. You know, single mothers, maybe parents who are working and can't afford to feed their children and things like that. We want to be there for every Chicagoan that we can be there for.
Yeah. How can other Chicagoans help you all?
Other Chicagoans can help us by volunteering, either with us or any other organizations around the city that help with food resources for folks in Chicago. Of course, the biggest resource for this would be the Greater Chicago Food Depository website. Through that website, you can put in your own zip code. You can also find pantries just like us, locations just like us, and go directly to our website. We should be able to find volunteer opportunities. If you're interested in helping us with this particular program, we do this the second Friday, I believe, of every month starting in January. We're located in Lincoln Park. If you want to sign up and check out more of the details, you can go to careforfriends.org. Or if you go to Care for Friends on Instagram and click the link in our bio, you can sign up directly there via an online calendar. Super easy. We make the process streamlined so everybody has a chance to come in and lend a hand.
Yeah. Hope, tell me a little bit more about how the mission changes or expands for Christmas.
So it doesn't change. We committed and are committed to making sure that we have a low, zero barrier to entry to get our services. And we really are supporting those who are most in need. In Christmas, it's just about expanding to provide gifts. So we do partner with some incredible partners like Andersonville Chamber of Commerce, some schools, Oscar Mayer Elementary, and we do a toy drive. And that ensures that with all of the students that we're providing groceries to, 18 and below, everybody gets a gift. And honestly, everyone still likes gifts, right? Regardless if they're 16, 17, 18, they still love to get gifts. And so that is just a big part of the mission too. And of course, it's just that a little extra special dose of joy to include in the care packs. But honestly, every month is the same. We're constantly looking for ways to support those that walk through our doors, that call our line. And so we just try to create ways in order to do that the most efficiently and quickest. And, you know, sometimes when there are emergencies, like of course last month with the SNAP frozen, freezing with the government shutdown, we increased deliveries by 20% last month. And we're continuing to do that until really those folks kind of readjust, because even 1 month of not having SNAP is detrimental, is absolutely detrimental to the folks who really, really need it. And so we're just continuing to be there for people when they need it. And again, with SNAP, we've created a toolkit to help people who might be affected by those expanded requirements with that bill that was signed in July. So all of this information you can find on our website, like that Marco said, careforfriends.org.
And as I'm kind of just reading up more about you all and what you do, how can people who may see this, who are in need, reach out for help? What do they need to do?
So if they're in need and can and visit any of our locations, it's walk-in. For grocery delivery, they should be reaching out to their school, because we work directly with the school guidance counselors as well as teachers, because they're the ones who are really most equipped with the knowledge of who can benefit from this the most. And so if they're families, they should connect with their teachers, with their guidance counselors. If there are anyone else who are looking for meals, for the food pantry, for helping resources, for our foot care clinic, they literally just look on our website. All of our hours and locations are listed on the website, and they can just walk through the door. Easy as pie.
Yeah. Well, again, congratulations on the 5,000th, but really, just thank you for what you all do on a regular basis, helping so many people in our area who are in need. We appreciate what you do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. You all take care and happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
All right. It's 3:12, everybody. And before we go to break, I do want to let you know the mural that we were talking about with them, it's still on display. It's at 1735 North Ashland Avenue. It's going to be on display through January. And what they say is that the mural directs everyone to careforfriends.org. That's Care for Friends, all one word, .org. Reminding everybody that a donation of just $5 can feed a student in need. So there's a part that we can all play in helping our friends, our residents, our neighbors here in Chicago, and we just have to figure out what way we can help to enhance someone else's life. It's 3:13 right now. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. It's 3:15 right now, and August, September, and much of October, our coverage was focused quite squarely on Operation Midway Blitz here in Chicagoland. The Trump administration's effort to, what they say, get the worst of the worst illegal or undocumented immigrants and to take them out of this area, to take them out of this country. It netted about 3,000 arrests during that time. But right around the end of October, amidst multiple lawsuits and many other things that were going on in the area, the commander, Gregory Bavino, left this area. They went on to New Orleans, North Carolina, Minnesota. Things were really dying down. Many of those lawsuits were dropped. Well, this week they are back, although they have said they never left, even though it may not have been at a heightened moment as it was before. And yesterday, they were conducting operations in Evanston. There were multiple places where people in the area saw them. At least on 2 of those occasions, Commander Bavino came in contact with and had a confrontation with the mayor of Evanston. And I want to bring Daniel Biss, Mayor Biss, into the conversation now. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
I want to read the post for anyone who didn't see it online, from Gregory Bavino, Commander Bavino, after his interaction with you. It says, "I would like to thank both Chicago and Evanston police departments who provided assistance in preventing violent mobs from assaulting our law enforcement officers as we were conducting Title VIII immigration duties in the area. Both departments cleared the way for us to continue our enforcement efforts unimpeded. I also had the opportunity to engage with the Evanston mayor, who asked me why I was in Evanston. I told the mayor that we were there to make his city a safer place through the Title VIII immigration enforcement and how these enforcement operations work. Although he fell back into the divisive talking points that we've heard ad nauseum from politicians in Chicago, I hope it was enlightening to him. I always enjoy meeting and talking with such officials, and today was no exception. Perhaps the mayor will see the light as we continue to remove bad people from Evanston. Excellent day in Evanston." What are your thoughts?
Well, this is not the first time Greg Bavino has lied. It's not going to be the last time. Here's what happened. They came into Evanston. They shattered a window of a vehicle to grab somebody with no explanation of why, abducting them from our community. They took a number of people, and the people of Evanston rose up in one voice, following them, blowing whistles, responding to do what they could to keep people safe from these thugs, from these federal attackers. And so, listen, we know what keeps us safe. I'm proud that we've done a really great job making Evanston safe, having the longest stretch, more than 2.5 years without a homicide in my lifetime. There's one thing that's making Evanston unsafe, and it's ICE and CBP terrorizing our communities, racially profiling and attacking. Now, by the way, I did have that confrontation with Bavino. I asked him some basic questions. Who are you taking? Why? What's your warrant? What's your justification? He wouldn't answer because he can't answer. He doesn't have an answer.
Let me ask you this. You are a candidate for Congress in the 9th Congressional District. Some people see when you were at Broadview, you came there multiple times during the height of Operation Midway Blitz, when there were protests on a regular basis outside of the ICE Processing Center in Broadview, or when you've sent op-eds to other states. Is this a political opportunity for you?
I'm the mayor of Evanston, and I have a responsibility to keep my community as safe as possible from these federal thugs who are attacking and terrorizing our neighbors. I'm proud to do that. I'm going to be proud to continue doing that. The tragedy is that because we were targeted unjustly for no reason, even though we are a very safe community, we've learned a lot of lessons. And I'm honored to be able to share those lessons with my colleagues across the country who are freaking out, who are saying, oh no, what if the federal government attacks our communities just like it's attacked Evanston? So I'm proud of the work I'm doing to keep our community safe. I'm proud of the work our city council and our government and our police are doing to keep our community safe from these federal agents. And I'm especially proud of the collective effort of responders across Evanston who are rising up together as volunteers to protect ourselves. But my God, how are we in a position where what we're talking about is how to best protect our community from the federal government? It's a crazy situation, and that's what Greg Bovino has created together with his friend Donald Trump.
Do you think that your community is being targeted as you raise your national profile?
Look, they've targeted neighborhoods across Chicago. It's totally unpredictable where they go. And we know that we haven't been hit the hardest. Our hearts go out to our friends in Little Village and Humboldt Park and Cicero who've been hit harder. But we also know this, that when you stand up and fight back, you have the opportunity to keep people safe. So I know there's some people out there who would say the best way to avoid Donald Trump's wrath is to keep your head down, keep your mouth shut, don't say anything, give in halfway in the hope that he'll leave you alone. Listen, that never works. It doesn't work for universities, it doesn't work for law firms, it doesn't work for corporations, and it's not going to work for our community.
Do you know anything about who was apprehended or detained in the operation yesterday?
No, they don't share information. I demanded information not only from Bovino himself on multiple different occasions yesterday, but from many other agents, and they just refused to share. And so as far as I'm concerned, they're unlawfully taking people from our community without justification, without a warrant. And I think it's a tragedy and a crime, and that's why we have to come together to actually keep ourselves safe from these agents.
What do you say to those who feel as though of course, again, the Trump administration believes they are taking the worst of the worst. So what do you say to people who say you are protecting who they are trying to alleviate your community from?
You know, I'm glad you asked, because this is at the core of the issue. And the core of the issue is that they are lying, right? Let's be clear about this. They're not sort of like just barely missing the mark or trying hard but failing. They are literally lying. They are saying one thing, which is, hey, we're going after the worst of the worst. And they're doing a completely different thing, which is randomly racially profiling people based on the language they speak or the job they have. And that is wrong. It's un-American. It's immoral. And keeping our community safe is actually not just okay. It's really important. That's what I do every day. That's what Evanston Police Department does every day. That's what we work on so hard. That's why we haven't had a homicide for more than 2.5 years. They're doing the opposite, and we got to tell the truth and be clear about that.
Let me ask you, you brought up the law enforcement angle. So I do want to talk about that. In his post, he's thanking the Evanston Police Department. There is this hard fine line for local police departments during these operations. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, it's a great question. Look, we have strong policies on the books going beyond Illinois' Trust Act, our own strong welcoming ordinance here in Evanston. So our police are never going to collaborate with or assist federal civil immigration enforcement. And that didn't happen yesterday because our police department are well trained, they know their job, and they know our community's values. Unfortunately, the federal agents were creating violence. They were causing real problems in our streets, in parking lots, at a gas station. And so our police were deployed to keep our residents safe. And yes, it's a tough situation. It's a volatile situation, but I'm glad that our police are doing what they can to keep our own residents safe. And I'm heartbroken and angry that the people they're keeping our residents safe from are federal agents.
What do you think the long-term impact of these raids will be on the community?
Well, unfortunately, it's caused fear, and that fear will continue. And that fear is really harmful. There are people who are scared to leave their homes to go to work and are now no longer able to provide for their family. There are people who are scared to take their kids to or from school, right? So that is a real lasting phenomenon, and it's a tragedy. At the same time, the way the community has risen up is remarkable. And the new structures and organizations, all volunteer-led, all volunteer organized, of people who are committed to keep each other safe, it's really beautiful, it's really inspiring, and it points a picture to a different way of organizing our society where we're more connected and more reliant on one another. And the fact that that has come into existence is the one silver lining I see from this whole nightmare situation caused by Donald Trump, Kristi Noem, Greg Bovino, and the agents who they are ordering to terrorize our communities and attack and abduct our residents.
Given the fact that they're still operating, still pointing weapons at people, still masked, even though many of the things that I just mentioned became parts of lawsuits during the height of their operation over the months that I mentioned earlier, do you think the tactics from those who are rising up are working?
I do. It's a tragedy that they're not working 100%. It's a tragedy that ICE is still able to abduct people and terrorize and commit acts of violence. At the same time, I'm seeing people leap into action in the moment in ways that are keeping people safe. Maybe that's informing somebody that ICE is coming so that person can hide and take refuge in a basement and not get found. Maybe that's creating such a disturbance with whistles and horns and people and commotion that ICE just moves on rather than abducting somebody. The work that is happening is having a real effect and it's saving people. But as long as the federal government is intent on terrorizing us, we're not going to be able to make them go away 100%. And so what I would say to people is this: do not despair, or at least do not disengage just because our efforts aren't 100% successful. If they're 40% successful, we are saving people and saving families, and that is sacred work.
You mentioned people hiding. Obviously, you can't hide for the rest of your life. Again, going back to the fact that you are running for Congress, this issue is bigger than one president. It's bigger than one term. This issue of immigration. What do you think needs to be done from a congressional standpoint to work out some of the issues that have people in hiding right now?
Yeah, thank you for asking. This is part of why I'm running for Congress. And part of what needs to be done as soon as I get there, unfortunately, is to hold these thugs accountable. I was standing face to face in a street with Greg Bovino yesterday. In a year and a few months, I'll be able to be sitting at a committee hearing holding him accountable, holding his compatriots accountable. We cannot just pretend this nightmare never happened. We have to have consequences, and accountability, and Congress is the place to make that happen. But that doesn't answer all of your question. Here's the other infuriating part of this. We could have been having the same conversation 20 years ago.
Correct.
This immigration issue is stuck in a rut, and the problem is not a failure of knowledge of what to do. The problem is a lack of political courage. We know what we need. We know that we need to have a path to citizenship for those who are here and have not been involved in violent crime. We know that immigration is good for us economically and culturally and socially, but that also we need to have a secure border, and therefore we have to have an honest conversation as a country about the level of immigration that we want to encourage and support, and then secure the border so that that's the level of immigration that occurs. Folks knew this 20 years ago, but Republicans in Congress are too scared to do the right thing. It is time to do the right thing, and instead of that, they are terrorizing people in a way that does not have anything to do with solving the immigration problem. It's just putting on a show so they can feel tough.
Well, in fairness, Republicans and Democrats have had the opportunity to do a lot of work on immigration over the years. Not much has been done, but who knows what the future holds. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right. You take care. Happy holidays. It's
too. Have a
about
good holiday.
3:30 right now, everyone. We'll be right back. 2 minutes, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. It's about 3:32 right now. I believe there are over 2 billion people who are on Instagram. And there are so many people, millions of people, who have Fire TV devices. So, of course, at some point in time, somebody was going to come up with an idea to merge the two. That's exactly what's happening. Instagram now for TV is launching first on Fire TV devices for customers. And now you can watch your Instagram reels without having to get tech neck trying to look at your screens on your phone. So the Vice President of Fire TV Experiences at Amazon is joining me now, Joshua Danovitz. Thank you so much for your time.
Hi, thanks for having me.
This is a huge moment for your company. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, it is a big moment. For the first time, Instagram has Reels on televisions. We're very proud for it to be on Fire TV. Our customers love Instagram Reels, and now they can enjoy it on the big screen and together without looking over each other's phones or gathering together and just looking on the small screen.
That also means someone can't hide it if it's on the big screen. But
well, it's actually a great point. Instagram, the app, allows you to make a communal account. So if you want, you can set up your own personal account. You can add a communal account so that if you want to have some separation and the things you enjoy together, it's made very easy.
Oh, I like that. I like that. How long was this in the making?
Oh, it's been in discussion for a little while, but working together with Instagram, it came together pretty quickly.
What was the conversation like to get it to this point?
The conversation was very working backwards from the customer. Our customers at Fire TV love social. They just can't watch it on Fire TV up until a few days ago. And Instagram customers also have Fire TVs. And so we worked backwards from what would be a great experience for all of our joint customers. And it came together with great teamwork.
Explain what kind of game changer this really is.
Well, I'm a big fan of Instagram Reels, and in my family, I especially share Reels with my daughter. She's 20. It's like every night we send things back and forth. But when we do, it's a very personal experience. Like, it comes only to my small phone. I can't really share it with my wife, for example, and get some giggles about that dog video. I get lots of dog videos at home from my daughter. We like dogs, especially when they do silly things. Now, when I get it, we can watch it on the reel on the big screen. And for social viewing, it's just so much fun. You can like it, you can see comments on the big screen, you can send it to friends. It just makes it so that when you're doing the social things in joint viewing on the big screen, it just becomes much easier to do and so much more fun.
I feel like this could really get me in trouble because I like this when a company has a sale and they have it in their Instagram reels, and then I can see all the items that are for sale in their reel. But putting that on the big screen could really hurt my pockets. You all talked about pushing the boundaries. Could people watch like an Instagram Live now on the big screen?
Today we've announced Instagram Reels, and we can imagine lots of things that'll happen on Fire TV. There's so much content there. So we're excited today about the Reels announcement and what customers can do.
That sounds like I was a step ahead. Okay. I can take a hint. So tell me why Reels? Why is it starting with Reels? And I say starting because I think there's definitely more to come.
Well, Reels just has so much great content, great creators. The features are fantastic. I personally love to see some of the silly comments and be able to like it and then follow those creators. And so that really makes it exciting. So you can do all of that on the screen, not just watch the video, but really engage on the big screen.
And I'm seeing that it will support up to 5 accounts. Walk me through some of the rules for this.
Well, first of all, it's so easy. When you download the app on your Fire TV, there's a QR code. You scan it with your phone, and you're asked, do you want to log in with your account or you want to create another account? At work, I created another account. At home, I use my own account. And then you've got options. And so we've got 4 people in our house, so you can have 4 different profiles. We use one more for communal. But when my daughter has her friends over, she gathers together and wants to see her creators or the thing that she's following and personalize. And so it's very easy to just go to settings, choose a new account, and then start to play from that account.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, I mean, I quoted, over 2 billion people for Instagram. Give me the information as to how many people have Fire TV device. I know it's a lot, but how many people use Fire TV devices at this point?
Yeah, we've only announced that we've sold over 300 million devices all over the world. It's not just the U.S. We're in 80 plus countries, and so it's a growing footprint.
Mm-hmm. And so in this conversation with Instagram, why not another social media app? Why Instagram?
Yeah, I think that this demonstrates companies getting together, looking at customers and working backwards together. The content on Instagram is just so good. The reels are so great. So we're very proud to be working with them.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to try one more time. I meant, if you start to look down the road, what are at least some things that you would like to see come to fruition next as you push the boundaries?
Yeah, we are doing a lot with AI right now in our user experience. We've announced Alexa Plus, and when you are able to engage in a very natural way with Alexa Plus, have a conversation, start talking about different interests and topics to get to videos, I think that the opportunity to bring that together with social media is large. And so we've got a lot of things we'd like to do with this type of content, working together with our partners. But we can see how Amazon's investment in AI with Alexa Plus and all of the content around the world that you get, including Reels from Instagram, we see lots of opportunity to keep making things better and better in the living room.
What does it mean to you to be a part of this shift? I mean, this is light years from like when we were growing up. I wouldn't have even thought that these things were possibilities. Social media was not a part of my upbringing, but like to embrace these types of things, to see them come to fruition, and to even be able to look down the road and see some other things that you can do with it. What does that do in your mind?
Well, first of all, I'm very lucky. I get to work where I can talk about television. Sometimes it's embarrassing to say like, oh, I watched hours of TV, but in my work, to go home and to invent ideas and move forward to make it easier to find content is so fun. What's happening right now is it's becoming harder and harder for customers to find content. Content moves between one provider, another provider. There's really great content on social, like on Instagram, but some of those creators are also on big screen or in television shows. And I think there's just so much opportunity to be able to have a normal, regular, natural experience where you're able to enjoy some content from some sources and then move to other sources. So I love watching something. I'm like, wow, that was really interesting. I wonder if that creator has something on Reels. Of course they do. Or I want to learn a little bit more. I can dip in and I can find and search for something in my Instagram Reels. And so going back and forth within one big device where the picture is great, it's 65 inches on my wall, is really exciting. And so I think that we've got a lot of innovation to come to make it easier and easier for customers to find the content and then to go between the different sources with less friction.
So, good question for my producer here. Will the quality be as good or even better if we're looking on a TV versus our phones?
Well, I can only tell you from my personal experience, since I've been using it for the last few weeks as we've tested it, the quality is great. Obviously, some of the video from different providers vary in quality, but it's just delightful watching on the big screen. You can see much more detail, and when you're sitting on the couch with somebody giggling and watching, for my case, it's lots of silly dog videos. The quality is fantastic. It's so good to be able to watch these things on the big screen.
And as you were kind of laying out, your thoughts on what you do for a living, I can sense that passion. I love to be able to sense people's passions for what they do. I would be very interested. You mentioned having a 20-year-old, how that generation of your family even sees what you do.
Yeah, I think that she may think that all I do for a living is watch TV versus work on tech and work, do partnerships with great companies like Instagram. But it is fun to be able to talk. And sometimes I get to go home and I get to do live market research. And we're like, hey, you've got your phone in your hand here, which I know, you're looking at reels. You've got your TV here. What's it going to look like when we put these things together? So I would say my family is a little lucky because they get to see things a few days or a few weeks early. But they do participate in market research because I ask lots of questions and ask them to try things out at home.
Is that your whole your children's whole friend circle? Are you asking for market research, all of them?
They oftentimes don't know it because we've got a lot of confidential things in the works, but oftentimes probably weeks later, they're like, oh, I know why you were asking that question. You were trying to figure out whether this is going to work or not. So yes, I'm sure that they think that.
That is super cool. It actually is really cool, to me at least. All right. Thank you so much for your time. This is fascinating stuff that so many people are going to be able to access. And is it available now?
It's available now. Yeah, if you if you have a Fire TV, just use your remote and you can use your mic button and say Instagram and then download it and start using it. You don't even have to put a type of password. You just have the QR code and go.
Oh my goodness, the brain work that's going to go into using that this weekend. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
3:42. We'll be right back, everyone, with a conversation with the mayor of Gary about this possibility of the Bears making a big move south. All right, 3:45 right now. Want to quickly update you on the breaking news that we've been following before we move on to our conversation, our last conversation that we have with you here on Chicago Live today. Let's take you back to that live picture from North Carolina. We can now say NASCAR Hall of Fame nominee Greg Biffle was reportedly killed in this plane crash today there in North Carolina. The plane took off around 10:15 this morning, crashed shortly after that. Biffle and members of his immediate family were all on the plane. So troopers say that they will be able to say who all 7 people on the plane were after getting confirmation from the medical examiner's office, but this investigation is still in its early stages right now. We just know that the plane crash appears to be a Cessna Citation, if you're familiar with your planes, that went down, and again, it was owned by former NASCAR driver Greg Biffle. At a news conference just a short time ago, they did say that they will remain on the scene. I mean, there's really not much of that plane left there from this vantage point. The NTSB is expected to arrive later this evening. Just a terrible tragedy a week away from Christmas. There are some statements that are already coming out from NASCAR and others, but racing fans, of course, know Greg Biffle and his importance to the sport. Again, the investigation is still in its early stages, but already just a horrible tragedy that's taken place there in North Carolina today. Want to bring things back here to our area, and of course one of our big talkers today and probably for a while now will be whether the Bears, Chicago Bears, could end up in Indiana. It is a possibility now. I mean, it was a rumor for a bit, but now it's on paper as a real possibility. I want to go ahead and bring in the mayor of Gary, Indiana, to speak a little bit about the new possibility that's blossoming. Mayor Melton, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, what was your reaction to the letter that went out to Bears fans yesterday?
Well, I was extremely excited. I think it's a unique opportunity for Northwest Indiana. I've been a Bears fan my entire life, being born and raised right here in Gary. We are part of that Chicagoland market, and just to see this potential, I think it shows the world that not only Northwest Indiana, but Gary, Indiana is a great location for the Bears and many other corporations.
What do you think makes it a great location for the Bears?
Well, we got a unique opportunity right now as we also share access to the lakefront, just like Chicago. Gary has 5 miles of recreational beachfront property. We have the Gary Chicago International Airport that we share with you guys over there across the border that has international flights as well. We have a deep water seaport. We have a multimodal system. Right now, if I walk out of City Hall, I can get on the South Shore train right across the street and be downtown Chicago in about 30 minutes. So the proximity, the location, the cost of living, the accessibility, the convenience, less traffic, it brings so much opportunity, and we already have the fixed infrastructure as well.
Now, you mentioned less traffic. Of course, if the Bears had a stadium there, that would shift drastically. Do you think your residents are ready for that?
I think Northwest Indiana, but I know for a fact Gary is ready for that. So we are in anticipation of working diligently to formally create a proposal. We have not, I want to be very clear, we have not officially talked to the organization, but it's our every intention to put our best foot forward and work with the government, the state of Indiana. I say this as a former state senator here in the state of Indiana, that we're ready to work with the governor, Governor Braun, and the Indiana General Assembly to put the best package forward.
Mm-hmm. You said you know for a fact that they would be ready, meaning your residents, that they would be ready for this. Are you already getting phone calls about this? Like, hey, man, make this happen.
Listen, my phone's been ringing for the last 24 hours. Folks from around the country, individuals that have already been looking to invest and develop in Gary and within Lake County and Northwest Indiana. So yes, I think this is something that is very appealing to know that it could be a reality. And it's just being a part of the conversation has been extremely helpful, but I feel confident that we have all of the amenities, all of the infrastructure that the Bears are looking for, the workforce, the labor force to provide all of the needs that's needed.
You mentioned investment, and I know there's been so much conversation. You and I have spoken before about it, about the revitalization that's happening right now in Gary. This would be a huge addition to that.
Yeah, I mean, just a few months ago, Nippon Steel from Japan just invested $3 billion into U.S. Steel, which is right here in the backyard of the city of Gary. 1,000 new jobs coming down the pipeline for the city. FedEx with Transport Properties just broke ground on the new $60 million facility. Indiana Sugars, one of our sugar manufacturers in the United States, just building their brand new headquarters right off of the lake here. So $100 million new convention center that we're going to be working with to build with the Hard Rock Casino, Hard Rock of Gary, Northwest Indiana. So this is going to be the greatest comeback story in American history. And I've been telling you that for the last year and a half. And I think this is evidence that this is the right time. This is the right location.
Now, when this announcement came out, we started to think like, okay, now which states have two teams? Do you think Indiana would be Colts fans could parse off some of their fanship for Bears fans with a stadium right there? You definitely gain some more folks.
Listen, that's the misnomer. I think folks have to remember Northwest Indiana is Chicagoland area. We don't watch Colts games. As a kid, I'd never seen a Colts game in my life until I actually went to a game, right? That's not my fault. I didn't do that. So I grew up watching the Bears. I grew up a fan and still a fan. I talked to my brother Mayor Brandon Johnson the other night and just talked about this jokingly, but very seriously. But yes, I don't see that market diminishing. I see it growing. You're going to be just as close to downtown as Arlington Heights. You're going to be able to have a direct airport closer to the stadium than Midway is with the Gary Chicago International Airport. And there may be an opportunity to have a ferry. You never know, directly across from the lakefront. So I think opportunities are endless. But for me, this is not a publicity stunt. This is us putting our best foot forward to make the best case for the city of Gary and Northwest Indiana.
Now, one of the big issues here in Illinois that has stunted the growth, if you will, or the movement of getting a new stadium in Illinois has to do with the burden on taxpayers. How do you think that would be any different in Indiana?
Well, I think already our tax climate is better than Illinois. That's a fact. I know that for a fact as being a former state senator. But I also know that Indiana has already the economic development tools from a state level that allows these type of investments and developments. So that was why it was very encouraging that Governor Braun came out early to pledge his support that the state of Indiana would help build this facility for the Bears, with the Bears, with the cities that may be of interest. So I think that's encouraging that we already have a well-established tax climate for the business community, but also that the state of Indiana has already pledged its commitment to be a support.
It will be very interesting, and we'll have many more conversations to come. But off of the stadium, give me your thoughts on the Bears-Packers game since I have you here.
Listen, I think it's a no-brainer. I think the last game, we missed a few opportunities, but it showed strength. I think it showed that we have the ability to pull out a win for the next game.
Okay, that's certainly what we're hoping for. You really couldn't pick anything else, especially in the situation you're in right now. So, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. Happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays to you as well. Thank
you. You take care. All right, it's about 3:55, everyone. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back to close it out. Welcome back, everyone. 3:57 right now. We thank you so much for being here with us for another day of Chicago Live. We have covered quite a bit of ground here today, as always. We just had a great conversation with Mayor Eddie Melton, the Gary, Indiana mayor, about Chicago Bears and the possibility of them going south to Indiana. And then there's the other part of that conversation that's what's happening this weekend. Well, we have the Bears-Packers game that will be on Fox 32 on Saturday night. So much is riding on this game. It's always a lot riding on a Bears-Packers matchup, but this year our team is really doing great. 10 wins has not happened in quite a long time. Let's see if we can get number 11 this weekend. We also had the opportunity to talk about women's sports. We started off the broadcast talking about women's hockey and the event that's happening this weekend. Now that matchup between Ottawa and Minnesota is going to be happening on our sister station, WPWR, at 1 p.m. This is the Professional Women's Hockey League game that's going to be on Sunday at Allstate Arena. It's a fantastic opportunity for sports fans to really live it up this weekend, whatever you're supporting. We will see you back here tomorrow, once again, from 1 to 4 p.m. Thank you again for being here today.